Hello there and welcome back to the Agostinho Zinga show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and this is episode number 866. That is 866 of the Agostinho Zinga show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere within the depths of London. How you doing? How you feeling? Great, amazing, good to know. Good to know. How am I? All good, all things considered. Cannot complain. Freshly showered, freshly creamed, freshly hydrated and fed, and all of that good stuff in between. So really, my life hasn't been better, because there's no better feeling than stepping out of a nice warm shower, putting on some nice flipping creams on, splashing all that oil on your face, and feeling like $1,000,000 through the power of a built-in webcam on my computer. There's nothing, I swear to you, absolutely nothing that is better than that. What's been going on lately? So I was browsing social like I always do. Happened to stumble across a clip of the one and only Joe Budden speaking to Mel from the Joe Budden podcast, who's one of the co-hosts on there. And funny interaction they had, where essentially they were talking, if I'm not mistaken, about biological clocks, and the fact that in relationships women's time is not the same as men, and women have to be more aware or conscious of the fact that they have a clock. So if they do want to have kids, they have to get that kind of done before a certain time, which is all well and good. But for some reason, Joe Budden had some sort of argument where he was basically saying that he feels like women don't have a lot of ownership, don't have a lot of accountability in those situations, and they always blame the men for kind of leading them astray and not being clear on their intentions. And then by the time they realize what their intentions are, it's too late technically, and they can't have children. And they're going back and forth. And you listen to the argument, and to be fair, both sides have, both sides are right. On Joe Budden's side, in terms of accountability, it seems like, anyway, at least from the stuff that we see on the internet, 'cause I don't think women on the internet are a depiction of women by and large. I don't think women are a monolith based on what we see on them on the internet. But the women we see on the internet who like to argue usually don't like to accept any level of accountability. There is no accountability. There's always an excuse for everything that goes wrong in their life. So in that respect, I can see. But on the other side of things, I could also see a scenario, because I've also been that guy, where for the most part, dudes are really bad at communicating. So I don't believe this notion. I don't believe this saying people have, or what they were saying on the pod, Ice and flipping Joe Budden, that most men are able to essentially say the truth and tell women exactly what it is. It's their fault for buying into the fantasy and believing the dreams. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of dudes do sell women dreams on purpose just so they can get in the cheeks. That's the reality of it, right? That's the reality of it. The reality of it is men do sell women dreams just so they can get into the cheeks. So it wouldn't surprise me if men are also selling women dreams in the hopes of just getting to that relationship so they can get into it, so the person doesn't run away. So I don't think all situations are, perfect in that regard. But I thought the debate was, fairly okay. But then it got to a point where it seemed like Joe was going out of his way to antagonize, going out of his way to kind of provoke and prod at Mel, to the point where she sort of like got up and left, and they had to pause the recording. And I thought to myself, like, I wonder what happens. What needs to happen for a man to get to a place in life where they feel comfortable arguing with women like that so easily? Because personally for me, I've had my bit, I've had my lot, I've had my maximum of arguing with women when I was living at home with my mum. My mum is like a, fucking world champion gaslighter, and very argumentative and very easy, and she knows how to press people's buttons. And I had enough of that. But in general, it's never been something I've kind of done. And I wonder what happens in that regard. Is it the common trope of like, oh, you have to be a dude raised by a single mum in order for you to have that kind of in you to be okay with arguing with women? Is it just some dudes are kind of, for lack of a better term, bitch made, and they seem okay with it? But I do see a correlation. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do see a correlation between guys who are quick or able or seem okay with arguing with women with dudes who also don't keep the same energy with other dudes. Not too sure if you think that's true, but I don't really see Joe Budden antagonizing or prodding at people the same way he does women to does to men. He doesn't seem to do that. Obviously he can do that to men, who aren't there from afar. Case in point, Drake. I don't think he speaks to Drake the way he does on his pod, don't get me wrong, face to face. But I do find it interesting that's how personality exists. Don't get me wrong. I think, in honesty, that sort of approach is pretty good for podcasting. As you can know, Joe Budden's he's really good at podcasting. He's proved over the years that he's one of the best. So I think that kind of antagonistic, provocative, argumentative, hard-headed approach can work well, especially if you're on some COE, content over everything type of thing. But just looking at it as an observation, as I was just watching it from afar, I was like, it's really interesting how easy Joe finds it to argue with women. Like, he actually, like, it's one thing arguing with your spouse, fair, whatever, things happen. But going out of the way to just argue randomly with girls, it's just like, it sounds like a nightmare. It sounds exhausting. Like, it really does seem like the most exhausting thing ever. Why would you voluntarily do that? And I don't know, maybe I'm just hardwired to like avoid arguments in general, or maybe it's just my upbringing, I don't know, but there's something in me that just gets tired at the thought of having to debate and argue with somebody again and again and again. So I'd hate to do it by accident, and I definitely won't do it by choice. So when I saw that clip of Joe Budden going back and forth with Mel on a Joe Budden podcast, it made me think, why does that happen? Is that nature? Is that nurture? Is he just a bitch? Like, why go on for this? But then also made me think, you know what, maybe that's why him and Academics are friends. Because Academics also has that ability to like argue with women for an extended period of time and just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like never end. The thing that's really interesting about the Joe Budden thing though is that he's the host of a show. He's at the A mic. So you'd imagine part of the responsibility of being the A mic and the boss is that you have the ability to kind of like temper the arguments and bring the temperature down. That's kind of also, so it's not the same as just arguing with people in public. You have to be able to kind of bring that temperature down and just make it all chill and relax. But he doesn't seem to have the ability to do that, or he doesn't want to. Either he doesn't have the ability to do it or he doesn't want to, I don't know. But I did find that pretty interesting how that was the approach that he went with when he was talking to Mel. But maybe you also have to blame Mel in this situation because she doesn't seem to have any barriers either with these guys or lines in the sand, and they seem to be willing and able to take the piss out of her. So maybe she has to blame, she has a point to blame herself. Maybe she has a point to blame herself. Who freaking knows? Anyways, let's jump into the topics. So I'm sure some of you guys know about the story relating to the guy who passed away. I'm gonna try to get his name up here anyway. Let's see if I can let's see if I can get his flipping name here. I'm gonna type this mad Google search in. I'm gonna show you what you guys. Yeah, there we go. There we got it. There we go. So look what I typed into flipping Google. So if you're not watching this, I'll just read it out to you now, right? So look what I typed into Google. I typed in Goon Death Coffee Shop. So I'm sure some of you guys know about this story, but there's this guy in America who unfortunately unalived himself because he got caught by this like bikini coffee shop place. Which isn't really a bikini coffee shop place. It looks like a coffee shop where it's kind of Hooters, but they sell coffee. So it isn't even like they don't even wear bikinis, but essentially they're kind of, they might show you some cleavage. They might flip in oil down their breasts. They might show you some shoulder, some tight jean shorts or something. But regardless, this dude pulls up to his coffee shop with his trousers down. Allegedly, he had his meat out also. So he was like half masked with no trousers on, pulled up to the coffee shop. And I guess the women there, staff, recognized him and they were recording before he got there. And it made him super shameful, made him super embarrassed. He then quickly runs off, right? Quickly drives off in his car. That became a bit of a meme. Not a bit of a meme, a proper meme. Like the Goonlord, Goonlord. They're calling him Goonlord, Goonlord, whatever, right? But unfortunately, the guy after that happened, went home and unalived himself. That's the really unfortunate part about it. And he had a wife and I think 2 children, if not 1. So really sad story how it kind of ended. Not really sad for him because you shouldn't go to coffee shops with no trousers on. Basically, jacking it in front of the staff. That's a bit wild. And most likely, if he's willing to go to unaliving himself, because that's a very drastic measure for that level of embarrassment, he probably could have let it. It probably would have went by and everyone would have forgot about it over in a week anyway. But the fact that he unalived himself to me tells me that most likely he had some other very not so good skeletons in his closet that he was afraid of would come out. I don't think somebody that's willing to drive to a coffee shop drive-thru with no drawers on and they're flipping cock and balls on their seat is somebody that hasn't done it before. For sure he has a rap. For sure he's done something like that before, but we don't know about it. So most likely he was trying to save himself and maybe his family, the embarrassment of them discovering that he's got this whole other side to his personality that they probably had never heard of. Anyway, long story less long, that happened. Everyone's debating about it on social media. Well, look what's happened, and this is why you have to sometimes think to yourself, "Wow, man, maybe the internet was a mistake, maybe social media was a mistake because they held a visual, for this kid's death at the coffee shop. They pulled up and held the visual. They've also been protesting outside the coffee shop and blaming the staff for basically causing his death. But they held a visual outside the coffee shop for this guy that died, and his name, if I'm not mistaken, he's got like a really interesting name. I think what's his name? His actual government name is like, what is it? It's Nautica Malone. I've never heard of somebody called Nautica, but his actual government name is Nautica Malone or Nautica Malone. So they held a visual outside of the coffee shop for this guy that essentially sexually harassed these coffee shop staff members. Honestly, the world has gone absolutely mad. Look at this visual for Nautica Malone, aka the Goonaside guy. Goon for not forgotten. Can't go wrong with busty Latinas, you know. Yo. Goon visual. This black guy's the main one, by the way. That black guy's the main one. That black guy's the main one. We gooning. We gooning peace. We goon in peace. Could you imagine what police officers have to see day in, day out? A police officer's day, like you get called 10:44, we got an emergency at the naked coffee shop in Laguna. What's happening? There's a congregation of young males between the ages of 17 and 24 gathered around paying a vigil to the recently deceased perpetrator. What? Yeah, could you respond? Yeah, I mean, you're having to respond to this. Like, you're having to do fucking goon crowd control. Could you imagine? You're having to do goon crowd control as a police officer. You're meant to be stopping, you know, rapists and essayers and bank robbers and perch snatchers and shit. And here you are doing crowd control for gooners. Crowd control for gooners. Honestly, so good. And then look at this. And then the worst one is this guy, this black guy who was the one organizing, I think, that goon visual. The black guy that organized the goon vigil rocked up to the flipping coffee shop in his car with like really short shorts on to basically, you know, replicate what that guy went through. He didn't have his trousers off. He just had very short shorts on that only just showed his legs. So look at what he done. Look at what he did to kind of pay, you know, respects to the guy that passed away. This is absolutely crazy. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. He drives up to the coffee shop. You see his trousers. You see his legs there, sorry. He goes to the window. R.I.P. Nautica. R.I.P. Nautica. You killed that man. You killed that man. Oh my god, man. God bless the internet. God bless this new generation of kids. God bless gooning. Like, this is absolutely wild scenes. I don't know why he's got scratches all over his legs, by the way. I'm looking at the picture now of him in his car with the camera like in the passenger seat, staring at him towards the flipping drive-thru. And he's got really short shorts on to obviously simulate the guy with no trousers on. And his legs are covered in scratches. Obviously, this is the kind of black kid, clearly, that doesn't moisturize. You know the type of one that is going to pull up to do sort of stunts. Doesn't moisturize, hence why he's got these visible scratches all over his legs. But I wonder how he got them anyway. How did he get all these scratches on his legs? Was he trying to pull his trousers down? Was he trying to scratch? Was he getting nervous and have little ticks? Did he scratch his legs? I don't know what all these scratches on these lines are around his legs. I don't know what that's all about. But regardless, now they've turned that place into what? A point of protest. Now they're trying to get that place locked down, finished, done for, because this guy went there again with these meet out, essentially sexually harassing these girls. Because I don't doubt, and this is just me thinking with a logical brain, but I don't think that thing that he did was the first time he did it, because for sure, you know, with the staff members already recording him. Because if you remember that video, the woman that's recording that works in the store, the barista, let's say, she's already recording before that guy pulls up, so she recognizes his car. She recognizes his car, and then he gets up to the window, and he's already smiling. He's trying to have a good time, and he quickly realizes it's not a laughing matter. So most likely he was doing some other very, you know, questionable things that people aren't aware of. So you would imagine a lot of this sort of like, you know, sexual deviant sort of stuff, it's usually a ramping up process. You go from one thing to another thing. It kind of, you know, it goes from 1 minute you're having your trousers off, pulling up to, you know, a naked coffee shop. The next minute you're flipping chin and you're allegedly burying women in the bottom of the lake somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the ramping up process. So in all actuality, you know, some could say the guy's passing was like a form of natural selection, because you don't want people like that to exist in the world and taking advantage of people. But other situation could say that's just his like guilty conscience talking to him, hence why he's not around anymore, because he knew if he was around, people would start digging into him and maybe would have found video clips associated to him or whatever, that showed some other stuff that was a bit more dicey and maybe a little bit more crazier than what this was. This is still crazy, by the way. I still think pulling up to a coffee shop with no trousers on is insane. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure it does happen quite often. I'm sure a lot of girls who work in retail, who work in like customer facing stuff, I'm pretty sure even girls who work in like museums or in like water parks or front of house of restaurants, I'm sure they've all had very, very sus situations happen where dudes have done things because they're a girl working in a front facing place. So I'm sure this is not uncommon, but it's just wild to think that he pulled up to a coffee shop with no trousers, he's nuts and balls on the seat, you know, and thought nothing was going to happen, and thought it was going to be all Gucci. Like, absolutely insane. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely insane. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? Absolutely nada. Moving on, quickly going to touch upon and talk about the brilliant Blick Sum video. So Latto's got a new tune out called Blick Sum featuring Playboi Cart. The official music video actually dropped just the other day, and I have to be honest, the tune is really good. I'm surprised that Blick Sum isn't Playboi Cart's song though. Maybe I'm dumb and I'm not really attuned. I thought when I heard the song leak at first, it was a Playboi Cart song. I swear it was. But now it's turned into a Latto song. Even though Latto does really well on it. I'm a big fan of Latto anyway. I think she spits really well. She's one of the female rappers that I tend to like and listen to, especially of the kind of quote unquote mainstream ones. I don't think she's as talented and as capable as like a Doja Cat. Even though Doja Cat, you would probably say she's more of a pop star than a rapper. But I still think Latto is up there. Like, she's definitely better than Megan Thee Stallion for me. Definitely better than Cardi B for me. Definitely in that kind of group of girls who are like, you know, doing their thing, like Flo Millie, Doja Cat, all those type of ones. But I think she's absolutely destroys this tune. She does really well. The only thing that's a little bit awkward on this particular song is her trying to match Playboi Cart's aesthetic, trying to match his quote unquote freak, trying to match his style, trying to match his kind of aura and stuff. That's the only weird thing, because, you know, Cart is a little bit of a diva. He's a little bit fancy himself, so he kind of out auras, out fancies, out freaks her in this particular video. But I think he'll probably do that to most people. But she does a good job, you know, in terms of keeping up. I really do like the flipping, I think it's a Bentley. I think this is a Bentley truck, or maybe it's a Rolls Royce truck. This truck in all white with the orange interior. And it's got this massive rims, which are similar to the rims that you see on that new Robo Taxi, and similar to the rims that Ye has on his Urus as well. And yeah, I think he has them on his Urus. But on the rims, around the rims, Playboi Cart has engraved I Am Music in the inside rims of the fucking car. So it looks fucking sick. So I Am Music is meant to be the album title for his up and coming album, which still hasn't dropped yet. But oh my god, man, the car is so fucking sick. His outfit is pretty sick too. I don't like the jorts. I'm never gonna be a fan of the denim, the 3/4 length long denim short things. I fucking hate them, honestly. I hate long denim shorts. I think if you're gonna wear denim, like, just wear the shorts or wear like denim. Don't have these in between kind of weird things that go past your knee, that sit just above your ankle. If anything, I feel like people who wear those type of jeans are probably guys who have really skinny legs. Like, if you have really skinny legs, maybe you feel self-conscious about your legs. I feel like dudes who have those don't want to show their legs off, so they kind of cover them up, but you still get to see like a sliver, like a 5 centimeter gap of flipping skin. But I personally don't like how they look, and I would rather they don't exist. But hey, this time, in this era, in this type of fashion, for some reason kids love fucking 3/4 length jeans. But yeah, Latto kind of slides all over it. I'm not too sure if this is part of an album drop, if this is part of, because the album that she put out actually, which didn't get a lot of love last year, it wasn't going to be my album of the year, don't get me wrong. Well, but I really do think she flipping killed it. What's the album called? I forgot the album. What's the album name? But she put out an album last year that I thought was really good. That's it. It's called Sugar Honey Iced Tea. That Latto put out last year, and I actually did enjoy the album. I'm not gonna lie. I really did like. Also, Blick Sum is on the song. Okay, Blick Sum is on the album. I swear I heard Blick Sum before, like leaked, and it was just a Carti song. Anyway, so Blick Sum was actually on the album. It's track number 3, so this is a remix. So I'm assuming this remix might be on the deluxe, maybe. I don't know, but deluxe already dropped. Yeah, deluxe already dropped. Deluxe dropped already, and she had 4 tracks added extra, which were Chicken Grease, Put It on the Floor, Sunday Service, and Sunday Service. Sunday Service and Sunday Service remix. Those are the 4. But I really did like Shout Out to Me on that album, which is track 17. The last track on that album, Honey Iced Tea, Sugar Honey Iced Tea from Latto last year. Shout Out to Me was incredible. It does sound a lot like Drake. People have theorized or hypothesized that Shout Out to Me, track number 17 on her Sugar Honey Iced Tea, was a record that was written by Drake, because it sounds a lot like Drake's cadence. Like, but she absolutely destroys it. She absolutely tears that fucking song apart. So I recommend you check it out. But yeah, this is the wheels. I don't know what these wheels are called, by the way, these rims, but I really like them, to be fair. I'm not sure if are they Aero rims? I'm not sure if they're Aero rims, but they're really massive metal rims. They kind of maybe look similar to the rims that you'd get in that Back to the Future car, maybe a little bit. And around the edges here, along this rim, on the outside, on the edge, sorry, on the outside of the rim, you have the engraving of I Am Music all around here, which is really fucking cool. And obviously, Carti's got his custom Pele jacket on, some cow print, cowhide hat. The watch actually that I would actually put, because I'm not really into all these fancy hip hop watches, but if I was to get one to kind of go back to kind of my youth and when I was watching music videos or Dipset and Diplomats, would be the Jacobs and Co. That's a Jacobs and Co watch, I think. So I recognize the face is quite big as well. So that'll probably be the only thing I'd get if I was to get like a fancy watch, would be a Jacobs and Co watch, because those watches are really cool and they're really iconic. You can kind of tell from the shape just from afar how cool they look. But yeah, I thought the video was pretty well done. Not mad at the video at all. It's actually interesting, like looking at Carti's features actually. But Carti's features are pretty sick. I don't think he's missed so far when it comes to features. He always seems to kill it. He always seems to turn up for some people when it comes to features. He doesn't seem to do anything else for others. But I think somebody mentioned here on Twitter actually, this user called By Dobson mentioned Blick Sum, Timeless, I Love It, Type Shit, Fiend, Flex Up, Off the Grid, Earthquake, Almeida. It's time we have an uncomfortable conversation about Playboi Cart's feature game. Yeah, I don't think he's missed so far in one feature. But that Almeida song, by the way, with what's her face, with Solange, is absolutely incredible. He absolutely slides all over that as well. But yeah, he's really good when it comes to the feature. So I'm mad that in the slightest. I'm loving the bandanas over the hats again. Very Joel Santana, very Dipset era in terms of what inspiration is coming from there. Titles on the inside of his palm. He's got Air Force Ones covered in diamonds now. I'm sure that's a custom job, copying what the Cactus Flower Market did with those dunks back in the day, which were really fucking cool. So he's got that as well he's wearing. She's got this nice all leather look on. Again, like I said, she was trying to match his freak, but I don't think it worked personally, because he's not really into this whole all black thing anymore. So she didn't really get the memo. He's kind of switched up his style for this, you know, again, this like Dipset late 90s, early 2000s sort of wear, where he's kind of wearing everything baggy, loads of jerseys and shit. You know, he's got this New York iconography on this leather jackets. I think that's a Pele leather, but still, I think she looked comfortable. She looked good in what she was wearing, Latto. So we love to see that too. And you know, simple video, nothing too crazy. Some nice club scenes here that I actually did enjoy as well, with some of the ladies in it chilling, having a good time. You see Gio in there in the cut as well, hanging out with Carti. So yeah, I thought it was a really good video, really good single. I thought they kind of complement each other really well. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm fucking hoping and fingers fucking crossed that this means I Am Music is coming soon. It's unlikely. It's very unlikely, but I'm hoping this is an indication that I Am Music is coming soon, because you can't keep giving us these features. You can't keep saying you're going to drop the album, not dropping it. You can't keep essentially honeydicking us with all these amazing features and then being surprised why fans like myself are getting annoyed and pissed off that we aren't getting the album. We want the album. We love the flipping artist. We want the flipping album. So hopefully Carti sees all the good response from this feature and drops the album. Hopefully drops the album. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Talking about fingers crossed, we also have to talk about Sexxy Red and Bruno Mars featuring, who is it? No, that's it. Yeah, Bruno. I think in the music video, I think Lady Gaga's in it as well, right? So Fat, Juicy and Wet, FJW. This is the song that they got together. So if you was wondering why was Bruno Mars on social media saying, "Hey, I need Sexxy. Where is she? Somebody get me in touch with her." Now we know why. I guess, you know, like all people, because Sexxy Red seems that type of person. She seems very personable. She seems very charismatic, very charming, very cool, very down to earth. Like, she seems like the type of rare girl that exists where man them want to chill with her anyway. Not even in like a sexual way, just want to chill and want to be her friend. And she also has the ability to kind of, you know, get girls on her side. Because it's not usually the thing. Usually the girls that guys like hanging around with aren't usually the girls that other girls like, you know? But she has that ability to kind of be cool with the man them and cool with the girly girls, which is pretty cool. So I'm assuming Bruno Mars hang out with her one moment, probably bumped into her somewhere in some celebrity fancy place. They got talking, they got hanging out, maybe they lost contact, and he went to get in touch with her again. And here we have the reason why, because he went to put a music video together or a tune together. The song personally isn't that offensive to me, although it is really strange to hear Bruno Mars talking about the female anatomy the way he's talking about it, because that's something that Sexxy Red does. Bruno's kind of, you know, a bit PC, a little bit safe. I do like his music, but it's not exactly the most vulgar and explicit type of music. So hearing him say these vulgar and explicit lyrics that Sexxy Red says is a bit jarring. But once you get past it, it is a bit of a bop. I can easily be seeing this here. I could easily hear this being played at like a local cocktail bar somewhere, hotel lounge somewhere. You know, it's got that kind of vibe around it. But I think if you're Sexxy Red, if I was her, I would have maybe challenged myself a little bit to come a little bit different on this tune and apply something different, you know? Come with a little bit something different angle, different type of vibe, just to sort of mix up your discography. You don't have to talk about the same things on every track you're on. I don't think so. You don't have to approach every track the same either. She could have easily had this in her discography and just had like a different sort of vibe around it. Whereas this just feels like, you know, what you usually hear from Sexxy Red, but just on a Bruno Mars type sounding beat. But in general, I don't mind it. I love the worlds colliding. I also think it's pretty cool for Sexxy Red because I don't think, myself included, I don't think I envisioned her being around this long. She survived way longer than I had any ambition or had any thought that she would survive. I thought she would maybe go out like flipping Ice Spice, right? In terms of having a really big moment, but then sort of like sizzling out or fizzling out. But maybe it's her work ethic. Maybe it's just the fact that she's actually talented. Maybe it's just good luck, whatever. But she seems to have not really disappeared. She seems to be omnipresent, always popping up at all the festivals, always there, always hanging, always having a good time. And most importantly, fellow artists seem to really enjoy hanging out with her. Like, she has some big cosigns. Like, legit, and these cosigns aren't like cosigns you can buy. These are cosigns that she's getting from, like, you know, mingling and networking and shit, which makes sense because if you've seen her older music videos when she was younger, she's wanted this for a long time. She's wanted this for a long time. She also strikes me as the type of person that was probably quite popular in real life, wherever she's from. I don't know what area she's from in America, but I'd imagine she was probably popular herself on the, and I think, if I'm not, yeah, I think she's from like St. Louis or something, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, she said in the past that she was a hairdresser or something. So she was quite popular because she did hair quite well in her area. So this isn't a surprise, probably. The fact that she's like, you know, doing what she's doing with her career, because she's always been famous. She's always known how to kind of move, how to act in certain spaces, how to kind of get people on your side, how to make people like you, blah, 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 blah. Hence why we get this collaboration and we get this kind of, you know, this new sort of life and wave that she's on at the moment. It's no surprise. So yeah, you got her featured in the video here. alongside Jenny and Lady Gaga, which is absolutely crazy. But actually, think about it, it's pretty wild to think Sexxy Red, the person who popped up and felt like a bit of a meme, is now got songs with Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, and one of the girls from fucking Blackpink. It's fucking wild. But again, I think she deserves it. I think it actually absolutely makes sense. And I'm curious to see how this develops. Does this mean we're going to get a tune of Sexxy Reds on Lady Gaga's new album? Will she be featured on that girl from Blackpink's album, which I don't think's dropped yet, maybe, or deluxe album? I'm not too sure. But either way, I enjoyed the track, didn't really mind it. Will I play it myself in my own system? Probably not. But if I heard it outside, would I bop and have a good time to it? Yeah, I probably would. Definitely would. And yeah, enjoyed it. I'm sure Bruno Mars enjoyed it, as you can tell via the video. He definitely enjoyed making this video with her. Bending her over and stuff and slapping your ass and shit. But yeah, big up Sexxy Red for making the most out of this small moment that she has and essentially solidifying herself. You know what I mean? She's probably made a ton of money as well during this process. Established her name, reputation, all that malarkey. And now maybe is a time to probably just, you know, clean up the image a little bit. She doesn't have to be super clean, but I think some of the situations she was getting caught in were like her sex tapes were leaking, she was flashing the camera and shit. Maybe just tone down on that stuff, because she's already overtly sexual anyway. She already kind of walks around in a certain way. You don't need to keep, you know, advertising in that regard. So I'd love to see her maybe kind of rein it in just a tiny bit, and then kind of go and evolve from there. It doesn't need to evolve to end up being, you know, mature and wearing turtlenecks and little fucking court bobs, but just a little bit, just a tiny bit, just to kind of give people an opportunity to collab with you and want to do more things with her, because I think the sky's the limit with her going forward. And you know, this also may signify an actual Bruno Mars album too, because we haven't got one of those in a long time, so maybe this is all part of the rollout for that. So let's see how that plays out. Big up Sexxy Red, big up Bruno Mars, big up Lady Gaga, and big up that girl from Blackpink. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. I know I do. I freaking know I do. Okie dokie, let's move on. So the other thing I wanted to talk about as well on here was this particular thing, courtesy of Stay Grounded. Big up Stay Grounded for always having some of the best streetwear based news out there for me to talk about. So this particular post, courtesy of Stay Grounded, features Slawn, the contemporary artist who's blowing up here in the UK, doing big things with his sort of like gollywog paintings and illustrations I'm sure some of you have seen. The caption says as follows: Slawn goes off on people at Paris Fashion Week. Who he talking about? So the caption, or the picture here, courtesy of Stay Grounded, features Slawn in bed holding money, stacks of money to his ear like a money phone. It looks like American dollars. And the caption says, everyone in Paris sucking penis again. Every year I see y'all run to Paris to eat doo-doo nuggets and suck cock-a-doodle at Fashion Week. I get the sentiment, but I think this is super unfair. I think this is super unfair. Because just because you've had your fun, just because Paris Fashion Week doesn't do nothing for you anymore, just because you've taken as much as you can from it, you've given as much as you can from it, and maybe because in Slawn's level, or at his point of his career, maybe Paris Fashion Week isn't as important as it was before. But for the people who still need to grow, still need to, you know, whatever, it's still a great place to go and link and build. And this is coming from experience, and I can say that I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been on the fence where I went to Fashion Week one year and I had no contacts, no new one, and tried to move and shake, and it didn't really go too well, and I had a bit of a shit time. And I came away from it hating Paris, hating the scene. Then the following time that I went back there, God bless the dead, R.I.P. to Virgil, I went there by invitation of Off-White. I was actually there at the show where Off-White did that show where Ian Connor ran down the flipping, let me see if I can find it. Ian Connor ran down the runway holding Virgil Abloh's hand. That was actually one of the first ever, and the first and last actual runway show I've ever been to in my life. So that was pretty cool, and that was in Paris. So that was when I was working at a previous company where I had the fortune of working quite closely with Virgil on this kind of like course that we were doing. And I was invited out there to, like, you know, just hang around, catch a vibe, you know, link and build, shake some hands, kiss some babies and shit. And I had the ability to attend one of these fashion shows in Paris. And I have to be honest, for somebody that was a skeptic of like Paris Fashion Week and skeptic of shows in general, I had a fucking blast. Because when you get invited to these things via the invitation of a brand, that automatically plugs you in other things. Obviously, still, I'm a bit of a yapper myself anyway, so I also got plugged in by yapping away. But because I was there via the invitation of Virgil, I got plugged into other things that I probably wouldn't have got plugged into because I was there with those guys. So I went to like after parties, I went to like showrooms and shit, stuff that I probably had no business being at. I was there. Yeah, so this one I went to. Wow, is that long ago? Shit. That's how long ago it was. I went to the 2016 show. So I went to what? His second only runway show for Off-White ever. The first runway show was this one, which features, I think it featured the graffiti designers, right? Just 2016 ready to wear. And the second ever Off-White fashion show, which was fall 2016, that was the one I went to. I went to this one. Yeah, and I think there was the one, this I'm sure is the one that had Ian Connor, who was there, who I saw, and a few other people. And I think Ian Connor was running down this is also Ian Connor before the allegations, I think. Before the 31 allegations. He was there, and he was very close with Virgil at the time. I think they were still close towards the end, to be fair. I think a lot of people kind of distance themselves from Ian Connor publicly, but I don't think they were doing it in private. But yeah, I was at this show where Ian Connor was. Yeah, there we go. There's that iconic picture of Virgil and Ian Connor. I was there during this particular show, actually, which is pretty crazy to think it was 2016 fall. 2016. It feels like just the other day, you know. Time goes by so fucking quickly. Honestly, COVID robbed us of so much time. It feels like just the other day I was here. Yeah, I was standing to the left-hand side over here somewhere, you know, minding my business. And yeah, seeing Ian Connor grabbing Virgil by the waist and running down the runway, celebrating him and shit. It was actually quite a good time. So anyway, that was my first and last fashion show I went to. And I have to be honest, man, I had a fucking blast. And I definitely understood when I went to this show why people give so much of a shit about Fashion Week. It was so fucking fun. It was so fun to be out there amongst fellow quote-unquote creatives, fellow people that are just as obsessed with fashion as I was, fellow nerds, fellow geeks, just fucking, you know, wanking each other off about, you know, I don't know, full 2015 Saint Laurent and early Rick Owens and, you know, whatever, what do you call it, Issey Miyake and shit. You know, stuff that you can't really talk to your other regular friends about. You get to talk about it with like strangers and people that you maybe look up to, people you want to connect with, people that might end up being like, you know, your friends in the future, people that might end up being collaborators of yours in the future. It's really motivating, really inspiring. And even if you don't want to go there and yap like I do, just watching people moving around, shaking babies and shit, moving around, sorry, shaking hands and kissing babies, it also inspires you to get on your shit. It also inspires you to kind of go back home and start taking more pictures too, more styling things, you know, making more art, writing more, whatever the thing that you need to do. So I really did enjoy it. It really did change my perspective on it. And if anything, it made it make sense to me why some people will go out of their way to just go to Fashion Week, even without a show invite, and just go there to catch a vibe. Because I've heard that be the thing. People just go to Paris during the Paris Fashion Week months. Maybe not menswear so much, but maybe the main fashion one. But I think menswear is good if you're actually into streetwear and shit, because a lot of the people that are involved in streetwear, all the big wigs, all the, you know, kingmakers and gatekeepers and shit, they're usually out there, so you can kind of get a lot of good stuff from that as well. But people will just go there with no fashion show invite, no whatever, and just go and catch a vibe, and usually it works. Usually it does work to kind of, you know, help you get a certain way, introduce certain people, clarify what direction you're going in, blah 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 blah. So I feel like what Slawn is saying here, although I understand what Slawn is saying, I feel like this comes from a point of privilege. This comes from a point of excess. You know, he's laying there on his bed, wherever he is, with piles of money stacked in front of him, which he's earned through his quality of his hard work and his flipping, you know, work ethic and his flipping, you know, output and shit and his talent. But now people are out there still trying to grind, because some, you know, his rise has been quite meteoric in terms of how quickly it's happened. Obviously, he's probably grinding behind the scenes, but other people are still grinding. They haven't had the rise, they haven't had the luck, they haven't had the good fortune that he has had. So they still need to go out there and put it on and kind of put on for themselves and, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, sell themselves. And I don't think it's a bad thing. And we don't actually have anything else. Like, bread and butter's gone. Most of the main other streetwear showroom, showcases, event type of things don't exist anywhere. We don't have a complex con in Europe. So the only things that you can do to kind of get your name out there, you know, move and shake, link and build, is to go to Paris Fashion Week. That's the only thing you can do. Or just go to Fashion Weeks in general, outside of all the other things. But Paris Fashion Week is usually the best time to go, because a lot of industry people are there, and people that can actually help you, or people that can kind of point in the right direction, or people they just get motivated from. So I think it's a good sentiment, but this comes from a place of excess, comes from a place of, you know, hey, I've made it now, close the door. I think if you want to go and have a good time, go. I think you should go there with an open mind, not go there with any type of level of expectation that you're going to get something from it. But if you go there with an open mind, you go there with a clean spirit, you go there trying to, if anything, trying to give more than you can take, most likely you're going to get something from it. Most likely you're going to get something from it, because like myself, I was a massive Paris Fashion Week skeptic, but I had a great time out there, man. Me and the people I've met, it really was incredibly motivating. And to be fair, most of the motivation inspiration I got from there was just shutting up, which is hard for me because I'm a fucking yapper. But I really did get a lot from it, from just shutting up and seeing people that I see on the internet moving around, hearing people's conversations, being in rooms where certain panel discussions are taking place, blah 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 blah. All this sort of stuff was really important to see, and just to kind of, and maybe just to see in real life, because not we wouldn't see it on the internet, it maybe doesn't hit the same, but it's also to see in real life how that lifestyle looks like. Because a lot of the people that you'll see there are people that are accomplished, people that have kind of, you know, have sort of like, you know, got themselves up the ranks, got themselves up that ladder. So it's kind of cool to actually see what those people look like in real life, see how they move, see how they talk, see how they kind of communicate with people. It's really important to see that also, to kind of put in perspective what you're trying to do, maybe to put a battery in your back if your motivation is kind of low, maybe to kind of give it the push that you need to keep on going. All those things are important. So I don't think it's fair to say that everybody in Paris is sucking PENIS. I think some people are out there maybe doing that also, but also trying to kind of open the door for themselves, you know what I mean? And try and make it through and all that malarkey. But hey, when it comes to all that stuff, what do I do? What do I do? Big up, who's that? Big up Alicia in the stream chat. Elaborate on selling yourself, because a lot of these people are just plain old groupies. Big up Alicia. I think selling yourself is just like, it's not being shy to talk about the stuff that you do. I think that's something that I reckon that I realized when I was in New York. Something that I also struggle to do even till this day. But when I was in New York, one of the really inspiring things I remember seeing was hearing people be able to give everyone they met like a elevated pitch of who they are. Like a quick little elevator pitch of like, yeah, my name is, hey, what's up, man? My name is Mark. Yeah, what do you do? Well, and not be shy, not even try and leave things out. Yeah, well, at the moment, I'm working at a flipping co-working space as a flipping site manager, but I'm also running this magazine. I've also got this studio. I'm also part of this collective. I also DJ. I also do this. Like, they'll just list it quickly in 30 seconds. Whereas I feel like in the UK, specifically in London, we are very shy and very, oh, I'll let my work speak for itself. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes letting your work speak for itself is not enough. Sometimes you have to be very bold, very loud about the things that you do. Obviously, don't put out there stuff that you don't do. I think there is sometimes a utility to lying. It can help you get your foot in the door. But I personally think like the time for lying has gone. Nowadays, there's too much resources. You've got AI, you've got PDFs, you've got CAD files, you've got numerous amounts of YouTube videos. Everything you need to learn, you can learn it and you can figure it out. So the time for lying is kind of gone. All the effort you put into lying, you could be put into actually doing the work. And there's kids out here who are fucking, if there's kids out here who are 17, designing entire tech packs, entire lookbooks, putting together magazines, putting together shoots, putting together pilots and short movies and shit, you don't really have any point to lie. So I would say the way to come across confident is to probably, I would say, be very bold about what you do and not be afraid to share it and not be afraid to talk about it when you're in those type of rooms. And actually go out of your way to introduce yourself to certain people. Do the research before you go to an event or before you go to a thing and figure out who roughly will be there, which is kind of easy to do via Instagram. You can check back at an event, check back at a flipping collection, check back at just Paris Fashion Week coverage in general, see some slideshow pictures from Phil O on Vogue.com and figure out who usually kind of goes there, get background information on what they're about. So if you ever bump into them, you have a question. And the one thing I remember doing, have in mind maybe a couple of questions in your head that you would like to ask somebody that you look up to. And if you see them in real life, why not introduce yourself and say, hey, what's up? I'm a big fan, and ask a question. All that stuff is really important, but I think the most important thing is to do the work and talk about the work that you do. Why not? You put a lot of work into it, you put a lot of effort into it, you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. Why would you just keep it to yourself? Why wouldn't you be but you know, kind of boasting about it, speaking about it with your full chest. So do the work first, and then speak about it to everybody that would listen. Speak about it, because that's something that I noticed with people that I saw out there. They were not shy to say, yeah, currently working on a shoot, or actually I'm working on a shoot idea. It's about, you know, this, it's about that, it's about this, it's about that. I think you might be able to help. Could you put me in touch with this person? And again, this is something that I really struggle with, because I don't really talk about myself in that way either. But from people that I saw that were killing it, that's what they were doing. So if you want to kill it, copy what people do when they kill it. You know, that's what I would say. But you know, I don't really know much because I'm still doing my thing as well. Yeah, big up Fashion Roadman as well. Fashion Week is a very good example. I can give an example. Yeah, wicked. This is good information here. Big up Fashion Roadman, because he's super plugged in, more so than I am in every particular way. So he'll know way more than I would. So let's see what it says here. I went to Milan Fashion Week once, and I met these Italian journalists. I told them about some of my writing. Then the next day, they needed an English-speaking writer to cover the Moncler show. I was there with Pharrell, Future, Michelle Lamy, etc. This is what happens when you sell yourself at Fashion Week. Bingo. Bingo. You heard that last bit? If you're not listening, did you hear that last bit the Fashion Roadman says? I was there with Pharrell, Future, Michelle Lamy, etc. This is what happens when you sell yourself at Fashion Week. Exactly. And as well, money included too. Big up Fashion Roadman, money included too. And I got paid 4K for it too. Bingo. Don't get me wrong, the money is great, you know. That's just a bonus. But I think the main thing here is the fact that he went there, opened his mouth, spoke about the things that he does with confidence, with pride. Other people felt the passion. Other people felt the flipping pride. Other people felt the energy. And they're like, oh shit, you know what's weird? What a weird coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, but what a weird coincidence. You just popped up in our radar. You speak about the things that you like, which align with what we like. You also do something that we don't have, which is speaking English. Suddenly here you are working with them. That's how easy it is. But if you don't open your mouth, if you stand at the side like I used to do, be too cool for school, if you start building up these narratives and these storylines in your head about who likes you and who doesn't like you, and you're all shy and timid, it's not going to work. You can keep all that shy and timid shit for your family and for other people or other situations you're not comfortable in. But when it comes to chasing your dreams and chasing the things that you actually want to do as a full-time gig, forget the shyness thing. Do away with the shyness thing. Chuck that shit in the bin and put your best foot forward, because people are waiting to give you an opportunity, waiting to give someone an opportunity, because everybody wants, especially in fashion, everyone wants to be that person that kind of puts somebody on. They're waiting, they're begging for someone to come through and give them opportunity to kind of spread some of the love, spread some of the contacts, spread some of the connects, spread some of the codes. Give them an excuse. Talk about the shit that you're doing and see where that goes. But as well, it's like it's a weird balance. Go with no expectation, but also somebody to ask you something, or if you see somebody you can talk to, be quick to kind of talk about yourself. Don't be shy about it. So it's a mixture of both. Don't expect nothing, but also don't be shy about talking about stuff that you do. Especially if you spend time and effort and money doing it. Why would you just keep it yourself? You're not going to get anywhere doing that, are you? You're not going to get anywhere doing that, are you? What else is going on? Oh, big up Bobby, big up Bobby Long. Hold on 1 second. What are you talking about, mate? Messages are on. What are you talking about? Turn on my messages. What? Bear with me a second. As I get this loaded here. I don't know what you're talking about, brother. Oh, isn't it on already? Why wouldn't it be on? Oh, maybe I did turn it off. That's a good point. Maybe I actually did turn it off. Hold on 1 second. 1 secundo, my friend. 1 secundo. Where can I get this to load up on here? Anything on there? No, iMessage is working. What's this guy talking about? It's working. Oh no, it isn't. Whoopsie. Is it? No, it is. It's working. Huh. Okay, for some reason it wasn't. You can receive iMessages from another message. Oh. My iMessage activation is not. An error occurred during activation. Just try again. Hmm. Okay, mate. Just hit me up on WhatsApp, brother. Apologies. or my what you call it. I'll DM you later. I'll DM you later. Big up my guy Bobby. I'll DM you later. I'll DM you later, my friend. I will DM you later. Anyways, let's continue. Let's continue. There's also some pictures here showing some coolness of what you might miss out on if you're out there during Paris Fashion Week. See, this is what you're gonna miss out on. So I recommend checking it out and doing your own research and not listening to what other people say about how bad it is and how not good it is, because it looks kind of fun to me here. Look at all these cool and fun hit people. Look who you could have been in touch with. You could have been out here with Lucky Blue Smith. Could be out here with flipping Odell Beckham Jr., Dave Chappelle. Mad people. Actually, let me get this thing out of the way because this is absolutely annoying me. Let me just quickly sign in on this thing because it shouldn't be doing this. I don't know why isn't my shit working? Weird, isn't it? Interesting. Let's press accept on this one. Bear with me one moment, please. As this loads. Cool. Continue with my same account. Let me quickly sign in with this one. Hopefully everything loads correctly. Bear with me one moment. Uno momento. Cool. Okay. There we go. Where is it? Okay, we did this, we did that. For some reason it's not letting me load them, so I'm thinking why that is the case. Okay, cool. Anyways, let me get the screen back up on here. So these are pictures. So this is some of the fun stuff that happens during Paris Fashion Week, right? You can be out here at these GQ parties. This is inside the Nouveau Paris Fashion Week party. This is courtesy of GQ Style. It says a jazz band on the dance floor. Has anyone who pulled up to the GQ Paris Fashion Week party before would say c'est impossible. But this season, men's fashion unofficial biggest night out moved from the hot and sweaty confines. Oh, for goodness sake, why is it doing this? Okay, cool. I'm just going to put it on the archive. It's for some reason it's making me want to sign in, and I don't want to sign in. Okay, I don't want to sign in, so just give me the bypass if you don't mind. And in case you're wondering too, if you want to bypass for a paywall, I recommend you check out this website called archive.ph. It's a really good one. Sometimes it takes a while to kind of get the bypass through, but it does usually work pretty decently. So you don't need to fucking sign into things and do all that sort of nonsense. You get me? 1 second. Let's put this through. Hopefully this loads. Let's see if it loads in time. If it does, I'll just put it in the background and we can get back to it in a minute. Is that load? It's not loading? No. Cool. Let's just get back to it in a minute. So, next thing I wanted to talk about actually was this particular situation. This particular situation again featuring Slawn, which features this particular artwork being sold to the one and only Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian buys Central Cee's and artist Ola Lu Swan's joint painting. I think it's Ola Lua. Is it Ola Lualu? Ola Lualu? I don't know how you pronounce that. Is it Ola Lualu? Or let's just call him Slawn. Joint painting put together. The caption says, "Congratulations goes out to Central Cee and Slawn. This pair's joint painting has been bought by Kim Kardashian, who proudly displayed it in her Calabasas home." So I've heard this is a big thing happening now with a lot of like super rich people. They're starting to get super into buying art. I know that particularly because I'm into startup people and stuff and those type of rich guys. So I know people like Mark Andreessen, who's not the most stylish fashion culture based guy, but someone that runs the fund A16Z. And he's very popular within the startup world, and he's starting to get into a lot of art. He's starting to buy a lot of contemporary artists that I'm kind of fans of and have followed in the past and shit. And that's becoming a thing now to sort of, you know, essentially, secure your fucking finances and basically build up your portfolio. It's to buy loads of pieces of art from up and coming artists, especially ones who are on the rise, like a guy like Slawn. This particular piece allegedly was done in collaboration with Central Cee. I personally see what this guy does, and I'm very impressed because, objectively speaking, just from a pure subjective taste level thing, I think his paintings are incredibly ugly. Like, I'm sure that's done on purpose because of the whole gollywog thing, because of how he self-identifies, and whatever else it may be about how he looks and shit, and his insecurities. But I find the paintings to be incredibly, 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 incredibly ugly. Really, really ugly to look at. Not that every painting that goes up in your house has to look good, but I just find that even the application, the application of the paint on the canvas to be very like infantile and shit, and blotchy and all over the place. Like it just feels like a bit of a mess, you know, a bit of a freestyle mess, which might be part of why it's become so successful. But it is pretty cool to see that his celebrity and his kind of fame has even got to a level where a woman like him is kind of tapped in. Now, most likely she's not the one tapped into him, you'd imagine. Maybe there's some sort of person that works in the team who's plugged into stuff in culture and be like, yeah, this is the person to invest in. But either way, the fact that she's got it in her house is fucking sick. And this is the painting, as you can see there. You've got another painting. So she's got two paintings, looks like, courtesy of Slawn. She's got one that looks more airbrushed with some spray paint on it, I think. And the other one looks like it's done more in color. And there's a time-lapse video that features Central Cee and Slawn painting the actual painting in his studio, which I think is pretty cool. He shows this all the ways behind the scenes stuff of how he builds his canvases, how he paints and stuff, how he puts his pieces together. I love that he does that on his social media and plugs people into the process, essentially showing people that it's not that hard to basically make, you know, thousands, if not millions of dollars painting these really grotesque and horrible figurines on canvases and selling them to people. And he's also, if anything, filling a niche of that person, that kind of rock star painter, artist person who usually exists within every sort of like, you know, subculture and scene, especially in a major city like London. There's always one person that kind of captures the zeitgeist, and he's the guy at the moment. So it's good to see. Big up Fashion Roadman. The correct pronunciation is Oluwalu. Oh wow, I didn't even know that. It's O. So that O is like an R. It's Oluwalu Slawn. Wowzers. I would never have guessed that. I would never have guessed it was Luau and not Lao. So it's Oluwalu Slawn. Okay, big up Fashion Road, man. Appreciate you. But yeah, man. Kim Kardashian's out here buying bits from him, and I'm just wondering, my thoughts and feelings go out to that girl. That girl who I covered here last time, who was like very annoyed about Slawn's success and pissed off that he was getting all this hype, getting all this love and attention. I wonder how she feels. Because if it was me and I was a professional artist or contemporary artist, I would see what Slawn's doing as motivation that I can do it too. I wouldn't be sniping at him. Do you know what I mean? I would say, hey, if he can do it with these like really ugly paintings that look very amateurish and very kind of, you know, slapdash and grotesque, then also I can do it. He's got his lane. And if I'm doing beautiful paintings, if I'm doing more photorealistic paintings, there is no overlap in terms of our customer base, fan base, viewers, whatever it may be. You know, there is no overlap. I don't see why you'd be pissed off and annoyed by it. You should just see it as more as motivation that there's clearly money out there to be made. There's clearly people here that are, you know, eager to buy some stuff. So why don't I create more? That's what I would do. That's what I honestly would love to do. But, you know, I also understand from her, I also understand sometimes the hate that comes from that sort of scene. Because unfortunately in life, as we've seen in most professions, or in most professions actually, especially in culture, the person at the top gets everything. I think there's a law around it. I forgot the saying. There's a law around it, but those who have more get more, you know? It's not like it's not like it gets spread down. It's up to the people at the top to kind of, you know, trickle it down and spread it around people who are underneath them. But for the most part, the ones who have everything get everything. So sometimes it can be really frustrating when you're an up-and-coming artist. You feel like you haven't got a voice. You feel like no one's really listening to you. You feel like you're not getting the love and attention that you should be deserving to get. And the person just above you who's probably doing work that you feel like you could do with your eyes closed is absolutely killing it. Like, absolutely killing it. Slawn's doing a collaboration with Rolex. He's doing shoes with Nike. He's got painting he's selling to Kim Kardashian. Like, he's going up. And it's only going to go further up. The more the older he gets, the more refined he gets with his process, the more he starts to dial in on his thing, maybe evolves what he does, you know, starts to get into installation, starts to get into fucking doing, you know, sculptures and shit. This stuff's going to go crazy. I think he designed the Brit Awards, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might have designed the statue for the Brit Awards. You know, you could see him later down the line designing Olympic medals, like FA Cups. I think he did the FA Cup design recently too. So it's only looking like it's going up like him, like a rocket ship. So I hope that girl, wherever she is okay. I hope that girl, wherever she is okay. Keep your head down, knuckle down, and hopefully things will work out for you too. Hopefully things will work out for you too. Next. We got to talk about this. So this is courtesy of Chris Black. Chris Black is a co-host of a podcast that I'm a big fan of called How Long Gone. One of my favorite pods to listen to, actually. I think it's probably one of the best cultural podcasts out there, second only to myself and Tazs. It's probably one of the best ones out there. It covers more of the, I guess, the Mundele side of things, right? They're a little bit more it plugged into the celebrity side of things. They also have good guests on, literally, especially when it comes to authors. I'm a big fan of. They cover a lot of stuff when it comes to restaurants I'm not really that tapped into, and sometimes hotels and whatever it may be, private members clubs, you know, stuff like that, which is quite fun. And Chris Black, one of the guys co-hosts on there, he was also a former manager of a music band, so he has an extensive kind of indie band sort of like background and stuff, right? And I think he also comes from a hardcore background as well. So, you know, basically everything concerning guitar bands and shit. So he's also now, I guess, dabbling into music. But he's done this kind of quietly. Hasn't really said nothing about it or promoted his podcast and shit. But the reason why this is interesting is because Chris Black is known as the one who's very opinionated, very dour, very negative, and very quick to hate on things. Then he releases this song called My Drug Buddy, featuring Chris Black, Kevin Morby, Wakachi, MJ Lindemann, Brad Cook, and Evan Dando. Right? So I'm going to play a bit of the song for you, and I just want to give you my thoughts on the other side, because it's very interesting that somebody that I feel like is very opinionated, has a lot to say about other people's art, will be producing art of this level. And I wonder if this is like a thing that happens when you are somebody that talks for a living. Is it really, are you incapable then of creating good art? Or is it just somebody that's not really good at making art in general, but happens to be really good at talking for a living? I don't know. Let's play the tune. Oops, go back.
She's coming over, we'll go out walking and make a call on the way. She's in the phone booth now, I'm looking in. There comes a smile on her face. Still some of the same stuff we got yesterday. Still some of the same stuff we got yesterday. I'm too much with myself, I wanna be someone else. I'm too much with myself, I wanna be someone else. I'm too much with myself, I wanna be someone else. So we take off out.
By the way, this is Chris Black. The first guy wasn't Chris Black. That was an okay singer, whoever that person was. This is Chris Black, the podcast host. Listen to this voice. Yeesh.
Fiona's door, walking till it's light outside, like before when we were on the phone.
We have to laugh to look at each other. We have to laugh, 'cause we're not alone.
As the cars fly up King Street, it's enough to startle us. It's enough to startle us.
So it made me think, because I don't think that sounds very good, personally for me. It doesn't sound good enough, if anything, to maybe, it doesn't sound good enough considering how harsh and how critical and how quick you know, Chris Black is to mock other people and their art, really. Because I think if you're that opinionated, you have to be, you know, I wouldn't say you have to be god tier, but you have to be pretty good. You know, you can't be shit or you can't be mediocre and then fucking criticize people who are doing good work. You know, you have to be better than mediocre to criticize people, I think, in some regards. But then I also think to myself, like, does that really matter anyway? Should people be judging your art based on how you speak and what you talk about, or should it be judged in isolation, in a silo? Should people just look at what you do, your output, and think, okay, let me just judge the writing, let me judge the photography, let me judge the art this way, and then the other stuff I can judge it when I want to judge it too, but it doesn't need to overlap? Because you hear this guy speak on these podcasts about certain musicians, especially hip-hop shit, how it's all dusty and whatever it may be, and then you hear some of the bands that he's into and you're like, bloody hell, man, this is like funeral music. You know what I mean? This type of music you're playing when you want to end it all, and when you want to go in one of those little tubes somewhere in flipping Scandinavia and something and press a button and go meet your flipping grandmother or something, right? But then you think to yourself, like, maybe this is also part of the process of like learning how to get good at something. You start off, you're a bit shaky, you're a bit crap, and one of the good things about talking for a living is that you sometimes get opportunities that you wouldn't get if you just did art for a living, because you're talking for a living garners you a particular reception, a particular clout, particular type size of an audience that would then start opening doors for you to start practicing your art that you probably weren't practicing or doing at that level before, because the doors aren't open to you because you're a nobody. So it can be twofold, you know. So it's probably hard to resist. Like if you're Chris Black and you've got a very popping podcast in How Long Gone that you do alongside TJ, that everybody kind of loves and is big fans of, and you get really good guests on there, and then somebody says, hey, I've got a chance for you to write, because I think he's writing a book as well, and I don't think he's the greatest writer in the world, but again, you know, are you going to turn that down? Probably not. You are known as being a music guy, you go to shows and you love sorry, you love bands. Are you going to turn down the opportunity to get a little record deal, get a little distribution deal, have a little single put out, a little EP maybe to tie in with your book, or maybe just something you do for shits and giggles, just for the fun of it on the side as a hobby? Why not? You know, why the hell not? But it's an interesting thing to observe, because I think this song, My Drug Buddy by Chris Black, is pretty much one of the worst songs I've heard in my life. Not gonna lie, it's really fucking bad. And if anything, he actually ruins it. When his voice comes in, whoever the guy is at the start, he's actually sounds pretty decent. I don't know if that's Kevin Morby or something, but whoever the guy is in the beginning, he's pretty decent. But I think after the fact, yeah, he doesn't sound too good when he comes in, because you can definitely tell that's not a professional singer. You can definitely tell he does have a good voice, which again, credit to him for not using auto-tune and shit, but he doesn't sound great. But again, maybe that's part of the process. Maybe that's part of the process. Continuing on, let's also talk about this beef between Aitch and Central Cee. So if you're aware of the album that came out just recently from Central Cee, which I think is legitimately one of, if not the best debut albums to come from a UK rapper since Dizzy Rascal's Boy in the Corner, in terms of how cohesive the project is, in terms of the pressure that was on him before the project dropped, in terms of his, you know, fame level and his status, I think he delivered, because there was a lot of pressure on that project, and that project was fucking good. Carnage Greatness is really good project, and I'm not really someone that listens to a lot of UK rap, I gotta be honest. There's some people who I like the Digger D's and shit, but I don't really go out my way to listen to a lot of rap. I like Digger D, I like M Honcho, and a few other people here and there, but for the most part, I tend to kind of avoid a lot of UK rap. But I think Central Cee is definitely the exception. He's really good. I really did enjoy it. Even if he does have a bit of the same flow in certain tunes, maybe some of the beats sound similar, I think he did a good enough job across that album to really impress me. Well, in one of the tracks, he does go out of his way to throw some subs at Aitch. There's another UK artist that people love, and he basically mentioned in one of his bars that he was upset that he went to the Brit Awards 1 year, or 2 years ago, sorry, and he lost out to Aitch in a particular category. People are really confused by it because it was 2 years ago, and they're like, why are you bringing up old shit? But, you know, when it comes to these awards, when it comes to your art, you're always going to take it personal. So it's no surprise that he's held onto this grudge for 2 years silently, and then decided to talk about it again, or talk about it, you know, for the first time on his debut project that no one had an idea about. So anyway, this channel called Testified, which is one of the best sort of channels kind of rounding up a lot of UK specific music industry news, did a really good video kind of rounding up what happened. So I'm going to play it. The title of the video is called Aitch Exposes Central Cee, and then we're going to go on from there. Come on, son. Come on, son. There you go.
Central Cee may have pissed off the wrong guy here because Aitch just really went in dissing him, but we're going to get you up to date on everything that happened. Aitch went as far as to say that Central Cee has ghostwriters and hasn't made his own songs since 2022. So first of all, Central Cee releases his new album. On one of the tracks he takes a dig at Aitch, who won a Brit Award over him in 2023.
By the way, I think even Central Cee has to regard that. I think that was a little bit, you know, that's a little bit of an ego in him too. Because looking at the lineup, who's here? There's Stormzy, Dave, Aitch, and I don't know who this guy is down the bottom here. But those are some pretty decent people that he went up against. So even if he lost it to Aitch, he would have probably lost it to Dave or Stormzy as well. That's a strong category. So I don't think he should feel, you know, put out. He should feel pissed off. He should feel like he got done dirty because he lost, you know, because that's a very good lineup of nominations. To be even nominated alongside those guys should be really good validation for you, especially 2 years ago when you had no project out. Do you know what I mean? I think anyway, but maybe I'm mistaken.
Obviously, Central feels like he deserved it. He said he felt like a prick when he went to the Brits and he gave the award to a guy called Aitch. This was a bit random because it was like 2 years ago now. Why is he bringing it up? And back then, even Clint, the owner of Corteiz, had said we all know who that Brit Award was meant for. And Aitch had dissed him as well. So there was already a situation where Aitch had responded to the criticism.
Which now also explains why, because I remember seeing that and thinking, what's this beef that they have between, why is Clint and Aitch going back and forth? I never understood this, but it makes sense now because I guess Clint is Central Cee's guy and Central Cee was upset not winning a Brit, so Clint's gonna crash out for his dude. So that's where that beef comes from, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie, I never get a bit scared, but I'm shitting myself because I thought I'd have time to have a couple more drinks.
Aitch actually put Clint's tweet in a music video and was mocking him, saying that he's just bitching, tweeting and moaning about it after Clint had went on a little rampage on X, basically saying that Aitch had bought the award. That's what he said in his tweet. Man know that Brit Award was meant for. Again, fuck the industry. Labels out here buying awards. That's what labels do though, isn't it? That's the whole purpose of awards. You buy them. They're not awards based on like the popular public vote, are they? I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. To be fair, there was other people coming out saying Aitch didn't deserve it. Central Cee, Dave and Stormzy were also nominated, but Aitch's manager basically said, if you want to win the award, then just vote for your own boy. Don't moan about it after. You need to vote for them and that's how you win. And obviously Aitch was promoting it a lot on his socials and he ended up getting the award. But Central Cee bringing it up all these years later and basically sending for Aitch gave Aitch the right to response, and he released a diss track just an hour ago. Aitch actually decided to call this diss track A Guy Called, because that was the disrespectful part when Central Cee said a guy called Aitch. Like he's...
I love that title, by the way, because a guy called Aitch makes me think of a guy called Gerald. You know, the seminal fucking house collective band crew, whatever artist. You know, the iconic track Voodoo Ray. So I wonder, maybe I should try to put the vocals of this track on top of instrumental of Voodoo Ray and see how it kind of, you know, links up together. But big up a guy called Gerald.
He's explaining it to his fans who wouldn't have a clue who he is, which, to be fair, his American audience might not. Aitch starts with dissing Clint a lot in this song as well. He said, all your songs get rolled by Clint, prick in the booth, where's Mike? Get dissed off a guy named Oakley, which is Central Cee's real name. Let me light this blunt. Grab the mic, I dare you to come. Will Central Cee respond? And obviously Clint is always in the booth with him. He's basically saying that Clint approves his song.
Ocean Breeze, all UK rap. Trojan Horse, I'm looking at Sprinter, Kamal's Keys, UK rap.
That's kind of wild though, isn't it? I didn't know this about Central Cee. I didn't know that Clint 419 from fucking Corteiz is like in the booth with him, approving bars, going over bars. Like, so Clint is like his LeBron, right? Clint is like his LeBron, telling him how inventing deluxe albums, you know? Yeah, another one, you know? It's kind of funny to think that, you know, I wonder why Clint doesn't rap then. If he's in the booth doing all this shit, I wonder why. Maybe we'll see that in the future. Maybe we'll see in the future Clint start rapping. That'd be fucking hilarious. If people think he's unbearable now, if you think he's obnoxious now, if you think he's insufferable now, just imagine when this guy starts rapping and actually starts selling records, selling out shows. Clint, head to toe in Corteiz, absolutely hilarious.
This is 15 minutes, man. This isn't like, it's 15 minutes. Are we saying about being spoiled?
Next, Aitch starts mocking Central Cee for how he used to look, talking about his past hairstyle, saying, I ain't scared of no man with his hair in a bun. Pussy, oh, you ain't airing no gun. Daddy's home now, bitch, just bear with me, son. Obviously,
don't get me wrong, there's a lot of guys that look like this in the ends, so I'm not taking away from Central Cee, but I can separate the art from the artist, and I have to even say to myself, it's difficult to take the side of that seriously when Central Cee is rapping about being in the trap, selling this, selling that. It's hard to really take that seriously, seeing what he looks like, what he used to look like when he was, you know, before he started rapping, because he's quite young. So if he's speaking about this era in his life where he was on the road selling whatever, when did that happen then? Because just when he started to rap, he looked this way, and then when he started rapping, he looks the way that he looks now. So when did this like Trapper of the Year stuff happen? You know, I don't buy this stuff, but it sounds good anyway. That's the thing with Central Cee. He sounds good doing it and saying it. But do I believe it? Not really, you know, not really. But it, you know, it doesn't really matter really because it's all fun and games.
Central Cee used to have a different hairstyle back in the day with his hair in a bun, and he's changed his image now, which he goes through different trends of looks.
For everyone that doesn't know, yeah, this Saturday, man's doing a meet-up in Shepherd's Bush near Westfield and Stratford near their Westfield as well.
Like, it doesn't even sound as aggressive, innit? You see how don't get me wrong, maybe because he's, you know, his balls have dropped now, but he doesn't even sound as like aggressive, you know, as like, you know. But you know, maybe this is part of the evolution, part of the growth, and also if you've been through some probably traumatic events, traumatic times, passing of friends, that can maybe kind of make it a little bit more rough around the edges. So that might explain why he sounds and looks the way he does now. Who knows?
I'm coming and I'm selling my hoodies and my CDs. £30 for these hoodies. 30.
This is where I realised this ain't no promo stunt, because Aitch actually starts cutting deep. That ain't your flow, that's Cairo Keys. Cairo Keys is his boy that he used to make music with. He's saying he's copied the whole style for him, and Cairo Keys fell out with him and he's been blowing up more recently. Reese, he's talking about Digga D, the rapper that's dissed him and had stabbed his brother allegedly back in the day. And that's when it actually confirmed for me this ain't no promo stunt. Aitch generally dissing Central Cee. Just before Digga went prison, he was saying, same with Central Cee. He got shot at and watched his brother get stabbed. That definitely broke his heart. Yet he hasn't told the youths to leave the road. Look at F. Dot, God bless his soul. He's plastered his face everywhere, but didn't even go to his funeral, and definitely ain't shot anyone. It's that deep that he's speaking about.
I don't know about that, man. I love Digga D. He's actually one of my favorite, again, UK rappers, but he's basically the other side of what will happen if you're Central Cee and you don't just focus on the music. He kind of focused on the wrong things, didn't keep his head down and focus on the music, and now he's been in and out of his prison the entire time. He should be really flourishing and enjoying the fruits of his talents, you know? And he's kind of missed a lot of his moments and stuff, and momentum has kind of gone out of the way because of his frequent bouts of going in and out of prison. So I wouldn't take what Digga D has to say about Central Cee not riding out and not doing this seriously, because a lot of the reason why Central Cee is where he's at is because he maybe has avoided doing the knee-jerk, quick thing that most people in his position should have done when somebody stabs up their brother, when somebody sees one of their friends die and shit. You know what I mean? He didn't ride out. He didn't do the thing people should do. And now he's flourishing because of that. But Digga D is actually out here. He's actually active. He's actually doing the things that he says in these raps. And look where he's at. So you have to decide. You can't have both, unfortunately.
His friend and Central going to the funeral. Aitch bringing this up was just mocking Central Cee, and also said, chat about P, but you didn't pay Kenza, prob because she didn't let you slide in them cheeks. Kenza is another person that's tried to expose Central Cee and fell out with him. Initially, it was rumoured that they was dating when he was first blowing up, but she had said this.
We wasn't together, we didn't kiss.
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea who this girl is, zero, but I did see a picture of her toes on Dave's chest somewhere.
We didn't sleep together. No. But he really tried to make it look like that for his brand. And then you have the audacity to ask me to have your kids. I've not even slept with you. So you basically want to trap me and use me and gain off me and not pay me a dime. And then when I'm not with...
So hold on. So if he paid you money, it would be okay if he just impregnated you? If he gave you money for it? I love Bird Brain. I fucking love Bird Brain.
Your program, you move on to the next victim. And YB's had the audacity to tell me commitment issues came up. He was like, you lot can go in the room. Huh? So you want me to sleep with your artist, but you don't want to pay me for any of the videos I've done. You want to use me and suck me dry, and you want to embarrass me online for your marketing. Huh?
It seems Aitch is down to fight Central Cee on Misfits if that could happen. I'll punch man's head off his neck, no problem. Tell him to go and find his teeth. Your manager's 40 wearing a mask. Are you mad? I ain't trying to be YB. A little dig at his manager as well. Not wrote one verse since 022. Them ghostwriters made you a star. I can't lie though, it's making sense. Because we like the fits in your pics more than your bars. He's basically saying that Central Cee just has the image of a rapper and can do great marketing, but behind the scenes there's people writing all his lyrics.
But that's not just a thing though. People that undervalue that, it's not like, maybe part of Aitch's lack of success or lack of kind of star power, like Aitch, is the fact that he's not the coolest guy in the world. He's maybe got better bars than Aitch, so maybe Aitch is a better rapper than Central Cee, but he just isn't the coolest guy. Like, especially now that he's got, I think he might have lost weight, but you remember when he put on a lot of weight, he was looking like a dyke. You know what I mean? Like, no offense or stuff, but he was looking kind of mad out here. So he's not the coolest guy in the world, but he does spit incredibly well. But he also does kind of undervalue the importance of having the entire package. Looking a certain way, dressing a certain way, and spitting a certain way is probably elevate Central Cee to a certain level. So maybe Aitch does need a little bit of what could, maybe they both need a bit of each other. You know, pause. Maybe maybe Central Cee needs a little bit of what Aitch has in terms of bars, and maybe Aitch needs a little bit of what Central Cee has in terms of aura and kind of, you know, swag and whatever it may be, because he does have zero of that, in my opinion.
Which is a crazy accusation. This is where he addresses the Brit Award situation. He said, you built most of your career on image, not enough lyrics. Me, I'm just goated. You got 100 man on your payroll, and at the Brits and none of them voted. Aitch says, for the past 6 years I've been opening doors. Bringing up the Brits 2 years later, F my life, you should go and live yours. This is a bar on bar here, because Central Cee's little slogan is live yours. Yeah, that's his slogan about live your life.
L for live yours. If you don't know, then live yours is like a saying, a slogan that we kind of just always say. It's tatted on me everywhere. We got yeah. It's like the label, I guess. M for movie. It kind of.
He said, I've been running since the entrance. Madeline ain't your ex, that's your cousin, the resemblance. Talking about his ex-girlfriend basically looking like his family member, which many people had said.
Why does everybody keep asking if I'm dating Central Cee? I've literally never heard of him in my entire life. I'm just as confused as you are. I don't even know what we would talk about. And you're right, we do look like siblings.
The Manny accent makes it even crazier. Aitch says about Central looking like one auntie in a Manchester accent and rhymes that with now you're shagging your family, referencing it to Madeline. Aitch then mocked Clint and Central Cee in this next bit. He said Clint was pissed because Central got beat by a white MC, but Central's as white as me. You've been racist since like 013, pussy. Why did you hide them tweets? Talking about Clint, he said, how can you post some racist shit and then try and get people to buy your tees? Obviously, he has a clothing brand.
I didn't know Aitch had that much beef with Clint from fucking Corteiz. Pretty wild, isn't it? It sounds like he went for Clint. He went at Clint harder than he went at Central Cee. Maybe he kind of understands Central Cee's frustration, but it sounds like he went harder at a streetwear design than he went at a fellow rapper. It's pretty insane.
The main thing everyone was thinking is, why is Central Cee bringing this up years later? He said, you ain't broke, so why are you salty? So mad but you're rich and famous, because I live in your head rent free and I'm staying right here, ain't worried about the bailiff. Award goes to a guy named what? Pussy, you know what my name is. Listen, just remember this, yeah, I made millions off rapping ability, you made millions of capping and imagery. Listen, there's no denying now that Central Cee is the bigger rapper than Aitch, but at one point Central Cee was saying I need the same deal as Aitch is. So he has got leverage in this beef and definitely set a massive standard on the first track. Be interesting to see if Central replies. Me personally.
So yeah, that's basically the crux of the matter and beef that they have there. I'm not really that bothered about the ghostwriting allegations. I'm not gonna lie, not that bothered at all in the slightest. I don't really. It wouldn't surprise me if Central Cee does use ghostwriters. It wouldn't bother or change my view of him as an artist, because I don't go to him for like those type of bars. I go to him mostly for storytelling. I go to him basically for fun tunes I can listen to. and from what it sounds like, good projects, cohesive projects from front to back. Especially when it comes to a UK artist, I don't get bored. I don't get, whatever. I can listen to the whole thing from the start to finish and enjoy it. I could also picture myself going to a live show and enjoying it. He seems to perform live well, really decently. He comes across good on the songs. You can hear him pronouncing things correctly. He flows pretty well. All that good shit. So that's what I really look for when I'm listening to somebody like Central Cee personally. I'm not really going there for bars and rapping ability and whatever it may be. So if he does use writers, I think it's a good thing. Why wouldn't you, especially at his level, trying to improve, trying to grow, trying to make your mark? I think that works for me. And if that produces what we see in terms of Can't Rush greatness, in terms of that level of project of work, then I'm all for it. I am all for it. So let's move on. Let's talk about this topic. This is a little bit of a mad one. But it features Destiny, the streamer Destiny. The streamer Destiny is in the spot of trouble because one of his former ex-flings, one of his former friends, whatever, within that little community he has called Pixie, has alleged that he has been doing some revenge porn, which is essentially sharing footage of, I guess, them together, her alone, that she sent directly to him only, for his eyes only, to other people, which classifies as revenge porn. She wrote a extensive Substack about it and why she's deciding to press charges against Destiny, the live streamer, political commentator guy. And I'm going to read that Substack to you now and some other bits and pieces tied to this. But it is kind of crazy to see that the downfall of Destiny is coming by this route, because he is one of those, even though he's a bit of a freak ball, he's also one of those guys that you would deem to be like a male feminist. He does talk a lot about, being an ally in that regards. He does try, it seems like on the face of it, create a safe space for like girls to come on his streams and debate and do panel discussions and shit. But it seems like, from what people are saying, that he only does these type of things as a front to recruit girls, because essentially they're saying a lot of the girls that he's had on these shows, on these live streams, he's then eventually ended up fucking, which is definitely a big conflict of interest. You don't want to be mixing those two things together, especially if you're an actual professional streamer, an actual professional content creator. He's always been into some weird shit, or freaky shit. There was a video that went viral of him on social media where allegedly he was, giving some man fellatio or something. I never saw the clip itself, but I remember that going around. He's been known to have like, open relationships with his wife and stuff, or girlfriend at the time he was with, maybe wife, I'm not too sure. So that's, very well documented. I think he's been very vocal about being bisexual and being into that sort of shit. So that's been something that's been a huge part of his content, or been a part of his identity online at least. But I always imagined he was quite like on point with kind of keeping that to the side. This is what I do in private. This is what I do when I'm out of streaming. But when I'm in streaming mode, when I'm talking about politics, I'm talking about society things, cultural things, this is what I'm about. But it seems like he couldn't keep those two things separate. So I'm wondering, is this a consequence of him being freak and him being a weirdo, or is this just him blurring the lines too much and along the way losing his way? I don't know. Either way, the allegations are pretty crazy. So let's read the allegation here, courtesy of Pixie via Substack. I'll be suing Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II. She's his whole fucking government name there. Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II. So she says here, I'll be suing Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II. On November 29th, I learned that the streamer Destiny had non-consensually shared pornographic content of me online. My dignity, peace of mind, and hopes for the future were stripped away in a mere matter of seconds following the betrayal of someone I previously trusted. So essentially they're saying, from what I've been able to read online, that the person that Destiny sent the pictures of this girl to was another fellow streamer, some 19-year-old that he was also trying to smash. And that 19-year-old apparently got hacked. And then they found those images and leaked them. Allegedly that's what happened. So it's, it's obviously crazy. You should never send video clips or whatever that you've recorded with somebody with permission, that they trust you, and send to other people. That's insane. But it's also kind of wild how it came about. It wasn't even like he put them out himself. Somebody hacked that girl and then found those DMs, I guess, or files by accident, I guess. I'm at least a third person he has done this to, which is also crazy. I hope to be the last. I will not be commenting on the experience of the other women he has hurt, as it's not my place or story to tell. I will, however, share my story in the hopes of preventing this from occurring ever again. I have known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years now, and often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Despite this, I do my best to see the best sides of all people, try my hardest to spread positivity and create understanding where I can. It's corny, but I want to meet people where they are and focus on which ways we can build bridges together towards a better future for everyone. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I'm naive and should be more careful. Those people are right. No, for sure. Because from what it sounds like in this paragraph, it sounds like she's saying the warning signs were there from Destiny before. It sounds like she knew that there was something wrong, there was something remiss, there was something a bit dodgy about the dude, but she just trusted him anyway because she wants to give people a chance. You should never do that. I don't think women have the ability or have the women don't have the ability or have the women shouldn't be required to give people the benefit of the doubt. You just shouldn't, because it's too dangerous, it's too costly. You can't give somebody a benefit of the doubt, especially if your gut is telling you to run. If it's telling you to run, run. If you find out later you made a mistake, cool, you made a mistake. But in that moment, always trust your intuition, always trust your gut. Run. Avoid if you can, because 9 times out of 10, you're usually right. And women usually have better discernment, better kind of gut feeling than men do. It continues. When I was 19, over 5 years ago, I was extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered. Being severely terrified of leading someone on or SA, I thought I could trust Destiny, who I had multiple long conversations with regarding consent and boundaries. See? Always those type of bulls. Always those type of bulls who are like super pro consent and super about talking these type of things, and again, talking very loudly about all these type of topics and making it known how different they are to regular dudes who are the ones who are the freakiest, who are the ones who are the most weird, with a capital fucking W. It always is the case. So you can imagine my surprise when I discover that he had distributed pornographic content of me without my consent. Yes, you read that right. Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II sent pornographic content of me to a random 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten whom he had never met before, and then she published it to the whole world. She, rest assured, despite never having met her, he at least spoke to her plenty of times on the phone. So, okay, so the girl wasn't hacked, my bad. I thought she got hacked. So Destiny sends the pornographic content to this 19-year-old. I'm assuming he sent it to her in the hopes that she would get, you know, horny from it so he can fuck her too, maybe. I don't know. But he sent it to her and then she leaked it to everybody. Crazy. Of course, this is what he says happened. I think it's just as likely that he used her as a proxy to widely distribute his material while claiming deniability. I don't think that's the case. I don't think he sent it to her hoping she'd release it. I think he sent it to her to, in a classic kind of boy brain way, thinking that she was going to get off on it, when really it doesn't. I don't think it works that way. It might work that way for girls. Maybe if a girl sends you a video of herself fucking some random person or a pornographic clip of herself, it might get you off. But that's why I never understood dick pics. I've never understood the utility or the use or the validity of a dick pic. It seems very odd. It seems like the only thing that would work in like the gay scene. It wouldn't really work in a heterosexual relationship, because I feel like if a girl sends you a picture of her, you know, of her breast while she's wearing a t-shirt, you're gonna get off on that. But I don't think it goes the same way if you send a picture of your six-pack to a girl. I don't think it works the same way. So I think most likely he did try to send her these pictures hoping that it would get her happy, and instead she decided to press share and send it to social media. And now he's being sued. And now most likely, you know, all his career's over. But hey, what can you do? I don't understand why Destiny would knowingly and willingly put me in a position where I would receive non-stop sexual abuse and harassment. If we believe him, he was trying to impress the barely legal teenager using my body and my privacy, which is also super gross, isn't it? Yeah, that's true. If we believe him, he was trying to impress a barely legal teenager using my body and my privacy. Good point. The betrayal, coupled with the hundreds of messages I've received filled with sexual harassment and abuse, have left me feeling hopeless and devoid of almost all happiness. The only thing that has kept me going is the hope that I can bring this man to justice. I have him face legal consequences for his actions. For the past month, I've been speaking to lawyers about my situation and what to do, and I've decided that this is the best course of action. I'll be suing him for violating US Federal Code 15 USC 685(1) civil action relating to the disclosure of intimate images for public or private facts in Florida. I'll be seeking emotional and punitive damages for his actions. Wow. She's gonna take him to the fucking cleaners. God damn. I wonder how he's gonna plead. Is he gonna plead guilty? Is he gonna plead not guilty? What's his defense gonna be in this? Is he gonna plead that this was a hack? This wasn't him? This was sent privately to one person? Is there a loophole they're gonna be able to find in terms of disseminating revenge porn? Because this seems to be quite an easy case to kind of win, to be fair. It sounds like she was done dirty. It sounds like the perpetrator, we all know who he was. You know? I don't know, man. I have been told that the court case like this could potentially cost over tens of thousands of dollars, sorry. I'm terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing Hassan as if for fun. And Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. I could not imagine what he might try to do with me in this process. Sometimes I wonder if he does this as an intimidation tactic. I wonder if he's purposely trying to put fear into my heart when he casually talks about throwing money into a lawsuit with a multi-millionaire who can fight back. As if an indirect flaunt or warning over his capability of spending me in whatever legal case I throw at him. At the request of my friends, I've been encouraged to link my Give, Send, Go regarding the case here in hopes that we can raise enough money for me to legally succeed. There's a Give, Send, Give. Let's see, has she reached her limit or her target? I bet she has, right? Because a lot of people don't like Destiny, so I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be backing her. Oh, it's great. She's raised quite a lot of money there. Wow. Okay, she's raised a pretty decent amount. She's trying to raise 130,000 and she's already raised 46,000. That's a pretty decent amount, all things intended, to be fair. Not still at halfway, but still, given the niche of this kind of lawsuit and who's involved, I think that's a decent amount raised so far. So congrats to her in that regard. We continue. Whoever the next Joe Rogan of the left is cannot be someone that crosses sexual boundaries, violates consent, and puts women's well-being and safety at risk. That's a good point, by the way. I never understood why he was labeled that anyway, to be fair, because he's not that likable. And you have to also give Joe Rogan credit. Now she mentions it. Give Joe Rogan some credit. Yes, he's turned into an unbearable, annoying, fucking conspiracy-laden, you know, whatever boomer that believes fucking shit he sees on Facebook. Annoying. That proper shields for Trump and shit. But you have to give Rogan credit for the amount of rich, you know, for how rich he is, for how successful he is, how famous he is. He's very much avoided any type of scandal involved in women. He's not, you know, you never hear his name linked with anything apart from when Brendan fucking did that, you know, Brendan Schaub did that fucking inadvertently, you know, put it out there that he knows a lot of bald guys that fucking shit. No one really has heard anything about Rogan being, you know, an adulterer, being somebody that's out here hitting up fucking IG baddies and trying to fucking ring card girls or UFC fight. You don't hear jack shit. Zero. Yes, you might hear him on a podcast being overly flirty with like a female guest and shit, which is natural, I guess, sometimes when he has so many men on that show. But you don't hear anything untoward, anything sus with him. So you have to give the guy credit for keeping his nose pretty squeaky clean and just being about business. Just being about business, putting people on, no matter what their gender is, and being respectful. Because it seems like most of these guys, when they get a little bit of fame, a little bit of clout in Destiny's case, they go fucking crazy, you know? He seems to have maybe more of a female audience than most streamers because he kind of leans more to the left. So that might make sense, but I don't think you should take advantage of that. Just because you have some female fans, just because you have some female fucking sycophants or whatever, or groupies or stans, you shouldn't go out of your way to try and fuck them. And you really don't, and you really, if you do fuck them and it's consensual, you probably shouldn't, you know, disseminate, you know, and share some images that they sent you privately to enjoy. You know, you probably shouldn't do that. You probably should avoid having sexual relations with them anyway. But if you're going to do it in a respectful manner, at least, and go from there, because this seems to be kind of heartbreaking. Because to be fair, I haven't seen none of the things that she allegedly, you know, was put out about her. But I can only imagine how crazy that must have been to see like yourself spread across social media, with images that you thought were going to somebody that you trusted. You know what I mean? That must be fucking crazy. It must be such a betrayal of trust and shit. It continues. It cannot be someone who puts women in positions that they will be sexually abused and harassed. It concerns me that Destiny has been interviewing potential DNC chair candidates such as Marianne Williamson and Marion O'Malley, who have no idea what he's done. As time passes, he tries to position himself to have interviews with increasingly powerful figures such as Zelensky. I can't help but be filled with fear that Destiny might continue to succeed despite facing no repercussions for his actions. If the Democratic Party wishes to succeed in the future, it cannot be a party that accepts the sexual exploitation of women. It cannot be a party that allows men like Destiny to break into the mainstream, for allowing him to access to such spaces would be direct endorsement of his behavior. I agree with what she's saying, but unfortunately much of media, much of these public people is built on people who are into the stuff that Destiny's into. Abusers, pieces of shit, weirdos, you know? So I get what she's saying. It would be great to live in a world like that. But I think some of the most successful, powerful, richest people in the world have done the type of things that Destiny has done, if not worse, and gotten away with it. You know, hoping he doesn't get away with it with this regard, but it does happen. It does happen. Whole industry's built on it, to be fair. I've been told that the payout might not be worth the harassment and the attention I'll receive. In an ideal world, I would do this privately, but I've been told that there is no realistic way the court will grant me anonymity. This means my only option is to go public. I have been told by a variety of people not to go public. I have been told by some people that Stephen really does feel sorry. As if that changes anything. I really am sorry, you know. Bruv, you spread fucking images of me that I gave you privately and you're really sorry. That doesn't change things, bro. You know what I mean? Get fucking sued. But I'm not inclined to believe them, especially taking into consideration his actions regarding me. Regardless, what Destiny did is unacceptable, and I believe he will do this again unless if he faces justice. Let me be clear. Destiny has violated federal law in his transgression against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received. I am terrified. Evidence log. Okay. So, Destiny's in big blood clot trouble, which again, to me, in my opinion, isn't that surprising, considering some of the things you've maybe heard about this person in the past. Well, it seems that other people are coming out. This is courtesy of the Surfs TV, and this says the caption: another woman has come out accusing Destiny of recording them having sex without her consent. This is probably worse, you know. Yes, revenge porn is bad, but this is probably worse. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably worse. And this is like, fucking hell, like, if this guy's career doesn't die because of this, then you know white privilege is real. Because can you imagine if a black content creator was accused of filming himself having sex with girls and not without their consent, and they got put out there? Could you imagine how that person's career would be completely over? So if this guy survives this, then you know black privilege is fucking real. No, I mean white privilege is real. Maybe flipping even LGBTQ privilege is real, because he's kind of, you know, he's on that kind of spectrum when it comes to being bi and shit and being into the stuff that he's into in terms of being polyamorous. But let's read the allegation. This is courtesy of a girl called Sherry. It's Cherry via Twitter. This is the allegation. Destiny has blocked me and banned me, and people supported me from this community. I have not done anything besides ask him for an explanation, as I was assured this was something he didn't do to me. When I wasn't given one privately, I spoke publicly. I am not involved in any lawsuit or coordinating with anyone seeking justice due to the leaks in November, though they have had my empathy and support in their efforts. It is only yesterday I became aware that Destiny had recorded me while we had sex without my consent, and with no regard for me, also shared that recording with others. 2 women now have let me know that they have received sexual recordings taken of me in September 2023 without my consent. I thank them so much for their concern for me. No amount of public humiliation will ever make me regret being made aware of what was done to me. I'll be filing a police report and pressing charges. Jesus Christ. By the way, big up to the girls that reached out to her, because that's the only way she would have found out. Big up to the girls who received those images as, I guess, some sort of way to kind of, you know, seduce them, that reached out to her and said, hey, this fucking creep, I think, sent me a clip of you. Just so you know. This is fucking good to see, because God almighty, bro. Destiny's out here having, for some, in my opinion, I think it's a miracle. I think it's a miracle that this guy even has sex in the first place, right? So Destiny's having sex with these consenting adult women who, for the most part, you know, if you're into those type of girls, are quite attractive themselves. And instead of just being grateful that's happening, instead of being grateful that consenting adult women are allowing you to lie on top of them, looking the way that he does, sounding the way that he does, being built the way that he is, right? Have you seen Destiny fucking topless? Have you seen that picture of Destiny topless? He looks legitimately like he can't do a single push-up. Like, he looks like a fucking mess. Let's see if I can find it. Whoops. We don't want to see that. Okay, let's just continue. I typed in Destiny topless and I saw some images that I don't know why those images came up on my on my Google. But let's just continue. Let me tell you that he doesn't look the best. Let's continue. Yo, big up Google, man. God almighty, I didn't know Google showed those type of things on the images, but anyway, you know what I mean. So yeah, this is pretty wild. Let's just move on. This is pretty wild allegations. And then we got another one here, Culture the Surfs, that features a chat log. I'm guessing this is on Discord, and it shows Destiny isn't taking any responsibility despite multiple women coming forward. So this is some chat logs from Destiny, where he says the following. Let me see, where does it start from? It starts from the bottom, doesn't it, right? Yeah. He says here, I have never done anything malicious, or as any of the fucking insane whatever Lav M rapist or Jew stalker allegations say. That's fucking R-worded. My only crime is being too much of a gooner in 2023 and earlier. 100% sure. Though again, I can't say anything specifically because everyone wants to come at me in court now, I guess. So he's attributing this to being a gooner, to being too much like into porn and shit. Like, come on, bro. People are into porn, but they're not out here fucking sending illicit images of themselves fucking to other people and shit. No, that's not an excuse, bro. That's not an excuse. There's a huge revenge porn angle for sure, but that's from a guy who dumped everything publicly. Anyone saying anything different is actually R-worded. But how can you say that there's an angle when you actually did what they said you did? That's not an angle. You did share those images of that girl to someone that wasn't that girl. That's revenge porn. Destiny again. Anyway, I dumped all of the Israel vids to August so that they finally get uploaded again. Pixie and the people behind her just want money, so there's no point in going after the hacker. He's probably some broke loser anyway, so they aren't even mentioning him. So he's still going with the thing that the hacker got it, when that girl's alleging that girl shared it herself. In fact, it's actually super epic and hilarious when vids of guys get leaked, or when you tweet out random sexual details like 15 to especially to own them publicly. Anyway, like I said before, I've definitely made mistakes and fucked up. All I can do is promise that I'll do better and change behavior going forward. I'll figure out and settle what needs to be settled in the background. If it's too much, then leave. It's not, then welcome to 2025. Yo, man, this kind of flipping, arrogant, I can't be touched attitude that he has is weird, isn't it? Especially considering the allegations that have been lobbied against him. Why does he have this level of ego? If anything, I feel like sometimes people like this, they encourage people to kind of fuck with them because of this attitude. They want to take you down a peg. You know, he's acting like he's untouchable. He's acting like his shit don't stink. He's acting like this revenge thing, porn is no big deal. People are making more of it than what they made it. I was just gooning, chill out, it's not that big of a deal. When it is a very serious and big deal. You know, very, very serious. He's acting like it's not, and it really is. This is not some minor thing, bro. He says here the neutralized citizens one is pretty. Can people describe things? Okay, cool. That's what he said there via his chat logs. We continue on. We've got a clip here from a girl. Who's this? Her name is Denims. Another streamer called Denims, I guess, is also coming out. She's the fourth woman now, talking about her experience with Destiny, and I guess alleging that he did some super sus shit with her too. Bloody hell, bro. Now there's 4 women coming out. 2 of them are suing you. The other 2 are just talking on social media about it. This is pretty wild. Let's press play here.
So still like he has so many victims, and he has done this same shtick over and over and over again, where he reaches out, or other women reach out to him who are 18 or 19 or 20. And he does the same song and dance where he tries to use and abuse them and then discard them when it's no longer relevant or useful for him. And unfortunately, I made the mistake of not having had sex with him. And after that point, he decided to just do a full smear campaign on me.
Also, this girl didn't even fuck Destiny, and he still ended up harassing her. This guy needs to be locked up and throw away the key, mate.
And threatened to leak non-sexual. In this case, I feel like it's important to recognize that, because these people have had to deal with him leaking sexual video footage or audio footage, but then he threatened to leak non-consensual, illegal recordings of me.
What? What's a non-consensual recording of her? Is she talking about like phone sex or something? What the fuck is that? What's a recording?
We had a conversation and he recorded it in California, which is a two-party consent state.
Oh no!
Which you cannot record people without their consent.
If he doesn't get fucked
and then
up
threatened
over
to
this,
leak that.
And
I thought that the audio recording was of a different nature, and I was super scared. I was terrified, and that was me thinking it was something else. Like in California, yes. And since that moment, I basically didn't talk about him at all because, like I said, he is a black hole. He's a cynical piece of shit black hole whose only goal is to sexually abuse.
What happened there? Sexual abuse, is that it? Sexual abuse?
Women.
Okay, cool.
A lot of women like Pixie. Women. A lot of women like Pixie.
I think Destiny's attacking my internet. He doesn't want us to hear about his fucking degenerate behavior.
Or like Cherry, or like any of the women that he surrounds himself with. And I am very happy to see that there is finally someone who is a perfect victim, who is brave enough to come out. Does he just record everyone around him? Yes.
Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ, bro. If he ends up getting away with this, man, the industry is fucking rigged. It's unfair. It's just all over the place, isn't it? Because I'm just imagining just the first allegation alone would be enough to get most like non-white content creators cancelled forever. Don't get me wrong, it's hard to cancel someone like a Destiny because he has his own fan base, he has his own subs. I think he's got subs on Twitch, he's got sub members on YouTube. So if your fans will rock with you, it doesn't matter if you lose sponsors, you're still decent, you're still okay, right? He's still doing content. I think he did a stream the other day, trying to kind of move away from the situation and just kind of act like it didn't happen, which is weird because, you know, the severity of what's going on. But I guess you got to try making money how you got to make it. But I'm just thinking, if this was somebody that didn't look the way that Destiny looks, it'd be over for you. It'd be so over for you. Really would be, because these are some serious allegations, bro. Like, god damn it, bro. This guy's a fucking menace. A legit menace. Another one person here says too, there's another allegation here, I'm assuming, from another person. Who's this? Let's press play on this particular clip. What's happening there? Oh, for fuck's sake, what happened there? Why did it not do that? Bear with me a second here while it loads. Bish, 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 bush. If you're liking this podcast, you're liking the stream, please make sure you like it down below, please. That'd be greatly appreciated. Please put the like button down below.
I hate that tweet. I fucking hate that.
Whoa, we didn't answer the question here.
Yeah, multiple times. He dated re-inspect for a long ass time, and then he fucked me over multiple fucking times.
Yo, that girl's voice sounds a bit mad, I'm not gonna lie. This girl's voice sounds absolutely ear-splittingly annoying. But let me hear her say what she has to say. Come on, load if you can, please. Okay, let's maybe move on from that one then.
Hasn't that guy fucked over?
He secretly what? Come on, son.
Force women into the market. It's a fucking.
Okay, let's go back to start.
I hate that tweet. I fucking hate that.
Whoa, we didn't answer the question here.
Yeah, multiple times. He dated re-inspect for a long ass time, and then he fucked me over multiple fucking times.
Hasn't that guy fucked over?
He secretly forced women into the market. It's a fucking federal. It's not federal. It's a felony.
Yeah, because he's horny.
It's a felony. No, he's a piece of shit.
Look at the guy in the background, yeah, because he's horny. You can't excuse secretly filming people because you're horny, you fucking fuck. Even the guy in the background that's with them is a fucking degenerate. You have to be careful of that guy in the room. Yeah, he does it because he's horny. That's not an excuse, brother. You can't just be filming people because you're horny. It doesn't work that way. You get me? It really doesn't work that way. But anyway, let's see how it pops up with him. Next, we got this clip featuring Katt Williams on Theo Von's podcast. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's like 2+ hours long. Considering some of the jokes that Theo was putting out there about Katt Williams, specifically that flipping nutcracker statue thing that he got from Walmart that he said looks like Katt Williams. I'm surprised Katt Williams actually sat down with him. I thought he might have not taken that joke too well, but it seems like he's got a good sense of humor. So he sat down with Theo, 2 hour plus long conversation. I need to check it out. I haven't checked it out yet, but this is the clip that they pulled from it, courtesy of the Art of Dialogue, where Katt Williams speaks about his experience with Harvey Weinstein. And man, this is one of the reasons why I always said, like, after watching that Harvey Weinstein documentary, as bad and as evil and as menacing and as downright disgusting as Harvey Weinstein was, the most disappointing thing about the documentaries about Harvey Weinstein and during that Me Too era was the amount of people who facilitated, who encouraged, who looked the other way, who assisted his abuse. And it made me think, you know what, that makes sense, because there's no way a person of his caliber, operating at his level in the industry, could have gotten away with what they got away with without help, without people turning a blind eye, without people looking the other way, without people, you know, especially there was one particular woman who still to this day fucking gets on my nerves. When I think back to the documentary, there was one lady who was like a receptionist, a PA assistant, something, who Harvey Weinstein tried to sexually abuse. She turned him down. She resisted. She defended herself. She fought back. But then she suggested one of her friends instead. Imagine, Harvey Weinstein tried to essay her, and instead of her just reporting the dude or running away, she instead suggested one of her friends instead. And her friend ended up getting abused. And I was like, God almighty, imagine being that person and then having the front, having the guts, having the neck to come out and act like you're a victim and talk about your experience when you put somebody else in the fucking line of fire, when you put somebody else in harm's way. So hearing these stories from Katt Williams is not surprising, but still another one to add to the catalogue of gross things that happen in Hollywood and entertainment industry people kind of look the other way at. This is Katt Williams talking about his experience with Harvey Weinstein.
But do you feel like they would say to someone, okay, we're going to bring you in unless...
Absolutely. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like in the rap world, like all of the rappers that you know that never been to jail and never gotten any trouble with the law, but they talk as if their life is opposite of that. Like those are federal informants. Like, you know.
You think they're really...
Yeah, they say that all the time. It makes sense though. I think if you listen to most people that cover like, you know, gang politics, especially on YouTube, they always say like, if you're a rapper and you're really about this life, you're going to be dead or in jail. So the only rappers who are actually about the life that they rap about are the ones that are in dead that we know of, the King Vaughns and those types, or the ones that are in jail, the ones that we all kind of know of, you know, I can't think of his flipping name, like Pooh Shiesty and shit. Those are the ones who are real steppers. The ones who are out and not in prison, who are talking that tough guy talk and not in prison or not dead, usually they're full of shit, or as Katt Williams said, are probably federal informants.
Out there.
Yeah. That's part of the job, is to acquire those. It's like saying, you know, if you're playing chess, do you have any pawns? You have to, don't you? You can't start without them.
Right. Have you ever faced...
Theo looking happy, man. Theo looking happy. Theo on that AZ diet. He looking very round in the face. Theo's on that good. Theo's eating well, innit? Making a lot of money, bro. Theo's looking very happy, very well fed.
That in your own life where people try to come at you for offers like that, do you think that like stars and get offered that kind of thing? Like to compromise themselves sexually for entertainment?
Again, the things that we are discussing exist in each of the fields.
Right, any field.
Right. Not entertainment exclusively. Politics, religion, science, everywhere.
Very true.
Some of this is human nature. Right. Because we listen and we don't judge.
Were there things that you didn't take in your career that you feel like were like are there things to look out for, do you feel like
there wasn't for me, because I knew I wasn't going to take it, but I did want to get offered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most of the stuff I wouldn't have believed until I had to get to a certain level to get to see the proof. You know what I mean? So
that's pretty wild, isn't it? That's maybe one of the signs that you know you've made it. One of the signs you know you've made it is that you get invited to like Diddy-esque parties. You get propositioned by like certain people. You get invited to like quote unquote Illuminati things. That might be one of the moments, because I think there's a clip of Jelly Roll actually saying the same sort of thing. How he got invited to one of these like eyes wide shut sort of like parties, and those are usually the signs that you've made it. And if you accept, you know, it introduces you to a whole different, you know, realm of that industry. If you deny it, then that door gets shut and closed forever. But if you do open it, you know, you see some fucking scary shit.
So I was as shocked as anybody about how powerful Harvey Weinstein was at the time that I was meeting with him, and how he could not be told no. That he get whatever he want. You follow what I'm saying?
They'll figure out some way.
Right. So I thought that didn't apply to me because I don't care about nothing but bitches and good business, right? Yeah. And then
imagine he couldn't be told no. Imagine, so that makes a lot of sense, man. Considering his level, because I remember someone always saying that Harvey was a man of his word. Weirdly enough, although he was a piece of shit and a monster and super evil, he was actually a man of his word. If he said, look, sleep with me and I'll get you a role, you're getting the role. Sleep with me and I'll get you a job, you're getting the job. You're getting the pay rise, you're getting the money. He would actually follow through on these type of things. And he was also good at his job, right? He was also a very highly accomplished, highly acclaimed film producer, money man, just, you know, power broker, gatekeeper, kingmaker, on top of all the other shit he was into. Scary combo.
He offered me 2 actresses like they was playing cards. Jesus, and I was Christ. Like, what?
Like he just jilted it. Like,
he was like, I know you.
Damn.
Right. Like, what?
Could you imagine that? And probably likely names that you probably recognize, I'd imagine, right? That's the other scary about. It's not like he's offering you, it's already weird he's offering you this, but imagine he's offering you names of actresses that you know. You're very familiar with their work. And you're like, oh my God, that level of person? Wow. Crazy.
Aces.
No, my personal aces.
Yeah. Did you think about it?
Look, I'm not.
Good question.
In these scary situations, I don't even leave it up to me. Like, I'm going to do what the superhero would do in this part of the movie, regardless, and deal with what happens after. Yeah. Just because it's a story, and I know it's a story. Right. It's my story. You know what I mean? So I can't.
That's a good way to think about things in general.
Yeah.
What would the superhero do right now?
Yeah, because I'm saying, I read about Jesus getting to the mountaintop and the devil saying you can have all of this, and him saying you don't have anything to offer me. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I got to look up to. So I'm going to follow suit in the best version I can, regardless of anything else.
Damn. Fucking Harvey Weinstein, man. God almighty. And he's still alive, by the way. Still hanging on for dear life. Still trying to fight his sentence. Going up for appeals and shit. Pretty wild. And I think his assistants who turned a blind eye out here directing movies. I think she directed some Star Wars thing recently. Like, honestly, the fallout from that guy wasn't as grave as it probably should have been. More people's heads should have rolled. More people should have been completely ostracized and cut out from Hollywood and had their careers in tatters. But some people, especially the women who were kind of like, were quote unquote brave, somehow flourished from the situation where they were the ones who, you know, facilitated some of the abuse that he got up to. Because I just don't believe that somebody could do all of what he did by himself. Definitely other people were complicit. And those people weren't held accountable for whatever reason. But yeah, at least he's down, innit? At least he is down. So big up Theo, big up Katt Williams. Great interview. Definitely going to check that out in full when it happens. Next on the list, and the last topic for today, will be this particular case regarding ASAP Rocky. So I'm sure some of you guys are aware of what's going on, but if you're not, ASAP Rocky is currently in court facing pretty lengthy jail time because he's rejected a plea deal. Essentially, the case is this. ASAP Rocky got into some sort of fight altercation with one of the members of ASAP mob called ASAP Relli. He's like an OG member from behind the scenes things. You probably would have seen him in the background of some covers and shit. Big black dude. He's probably the tallest one in the group. They got into some sort of altercation in LA, which resulted in Rocky shooting a gun or firing his gun at this guy called Relli. Allegedly, the gun bullet grazed his knuckles, hit his hand or something, and now he's pressing charges against Rocky. And Rocky is facing up to, I think, like 20 years in prison. And if you saw what happened to, you know, Tory Lanez in LA don't play. LA courtrooms and whatever, California, they don't play when it comes to guns, especially when felons have got it. I think Rocky might be a felon, I'm not too sure, or just in general, if it's not registered, they don't play too many games, because I'm sure, if I'm not mistaken, they couldn't even prove if Tory actually shot that gun at Megan, but he had the gun anyway and he got what he got. So it's not looking good if you see what Tory Lanez got in terms of jail time. I'm still confused why Rocky didn't take the plea deal. And I think the plea deal would have seen him sit down for like 6 months or something. But then he argues if he would have taken that plea deal, he would have automatically lost loads of endorsements and deals. And maybe the ability to go to Paris Fashion Week right now. I don't know. Regardless. Weird situation. So, Relli alleges that he shot him. Rocky's defense is that it wasn't a real gun. It was a prop gun that he carries for self-defense. And I guess to scare away perpetrators and shit. So now they're in court, you know, basically going through what they're going through. And the court case seems to be going through pretty quickly. Because the key witness in this, the person that's a victim, has already hit the stands, ASAP Relli. And he got on stand and said the following, which is very damning. And if anything, kind of concretely means that most likely Rocky's going to be found guilty. If he's not found guilty, it's a miracle. Maybe it's going to help because he's married, or, you know, he's with Rihanna and she's got good resources to basically help him fight this case. But I've not seen any situation. I think somebody mentioned, I've got to mention it, but it's a good point that very rarely do you see a situation where somebody as a victim of gun crime goes up and testifies and that person that did it to them doesn't get some prison time. It rarely happens. If it goes to court, it means that there's enough evidence to, you know, take it to court. And most likely this means he's going to face some time. So I'm still sitting here thinking, why did Rocky reject that plea deal? That was like 6 months in prison, 6 months in like jail. Like, it would I guess it would have been a blotch on his record, but still 6 months v fucking 10 years. I know which one I'm going to pick. But anyway, this is ASAP Relli testifying that ASAP Rocky shot him.
He pointed at me, and then that's when Elijah was like in between, and he's like, I'll kill you right now, pussy, or like whatever, like just was, and then I'm right behind Elijah, and I'm saying, if you brought a gun, use it then. Like, the fuck you brought a gun for, pussy. That's the words I was saying to him.
That's crazy, isn't it, right? Like, taking away what happened to him, but in terms of like street, hood, politics, logic, and way of life, telling somebody, daring somebody to shoot you, saying, shoot me then, pussy, and then them shooting you, and then you going to snitch, is absolutely wild. Rocky's got to be so mad. You know, you goad somebody into shooting you. Like, yeah, why you got a gun for, pussy? Who do you think you are? You think you're some big man because you got a gun? Fuck off, man. You're a dick. You're muck. You're wet. You're moist. You're pussy. You ain't gonna fire this gun. He fires his gun. He hits you. And then you have that shocked Pikachu face. And then you go and snitch. But in another way, Rocky being easily triggered like this and being quick to shoot somebody also shows how much of a short temper he must have, you know, because this is his boy. This isn't like a stranger. To shoot someone like this over, and if I'm not mistaken, the reason why this argument even happened, which is really pathetic, I watched a YouTube video where somebody alleges that the reason why these guys fell out was because this guy felt like Rocky wasn't giving back to the mob, ASAP mob, wasn't helping out people with their careers, was all about Rocky. And then in the course of them going back and forth with that sort of feeling, animosity between them each other, one of their members, one of their extended members or whatever in their crew died. And this guy on the screen thought that Rocky didn't pay for the funeral, even though Rocky did pay for the funeral. So he started bad-mouthing Rocky behind his back to everybody he could say it to. It got back to Rocky. Rocky didn't like it. So Rocky then said, I'm going to beat this guy up. So he then calls this guy and says, hey, meet me at this place with the intention of squabbling. I think this guy in the back of his head thinks they're going to squabble. Then when they get there, he pulls out the gun. So even the reason for why he fired his gun is stupid. Right? It's really stupid because yes, you can have a falling out with your friends over money, can happen, but will you want to shoot your friend over, unless they, I don't know, even if they let you, even if they let money from you, there's no reason why you'd want to shoot your friend unless they brought a gun with them too. It should be something that could be easily sorted with some fisticuffs in an alleyway somewhere. You know, you can fucking shoot a fair one if you want to, but there's no need for to pull out guns. And now it's got to the point where Rocky's facing 20 years for not being able to just swallow whatever someone's saying about you, just let it lie, pretend you didn't hear it, and just keep it moving. It's not that big of a deal. But this is what happened.
When you said he pointed at you, where on your body was it pointing?
Like towards my stomach, like towards like my headish a little. Like everything was happening so fast. So fast. You know what I mean?
And from what you're describing, was it moving?
Yeah, it was moving. He had it up.
Okay, so he didn't just hold it at your stomach. It was kind of
no. He was looking for a spot to shoot.
Jesus Christ!
If wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened.
And you said as
he was looking for a shot to shoot me. If Elijah wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened. I think Elijah might be ASAP Ills, if I'm not mistaken. I think that might be ASAP Ills. ASAP Ills is the mixed race guy who's like standing in between them trying to block them. Who's actually the nicest one. I've kind of exchanged some DMs with him in the past before. He's actually a nice dude, actually. He's actually an OG member of ASAP. Fuck, man. Fuck. Rocky is absolutely fucked.
he was pointing it at you is, what did he say?
I'll kill you right now.
And was that...
The lawyers as well. The lawyers make it worse. What did Rocky say when he pointed the gun at you? I'll kill you right now. Jesus Christ.
In an angry tone?
Yeah, he was livid.
Was his voice elevated? Like, was he yelling this at you, or was this something he was saying quiet?
Yeah, because we was yelling back and forth at this point.
All right. And you said that after he pointed the gun at you, you became angry, correct?
Yeah, I became furious.
So what did you say back to him?
I told him to use it.
Why?
Because mentally, like, I couldn't believe he just pulled the gun out on me. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you better use that shit. The fuck you got a gun for?
Can you explain, I want, as best you can to the jury, explain to them what you mean by, I can't believe you just pulled the gun on. What is that? What do you mean by that?
Like, I physically cannot believe there was a gun in my face. Like, that was the breaking point for me. Because like what I said, I told this kid numerous times, if you have a problem with me, let me know. You know what I mean? I feel like this got to the max. Like, this was like no return. So if I was willing to die for my respect at this point, I don't care. You get what I'm saying? Like, if this is what you want to do, I still have my dignity. That's how I felt.
And what I get from this also, this ASAP Relli guy doesn't come across as big and bad and bossy as they try to make it seem. He seems very mild-mannered, soft-spoken, you know? He doesn't come across as like a guy that will be quick to fight anyway. So it seems like a very weird altercation to have with somebody in your group who you know isn't really about that, really, to go to that extent, you know? Because it'd be something if you would do this with like Bari, young Lord, right? He's known for being a little bit, you know, aggressive and whatever. But this guy seems pretty like, he seems like a big friendly giant, for lack of a better term. So for it to get to this level, when it was all about allegedly the rumor that he didn't pay for a funeral, yeah, I know that's kind of bad to hear. You don't want everyone to think that you're the rich guy in the crew and you're not kind of helping out your friends who are less fortunate. Yeah. but it shouldn't be serious enough to want to pull out a gun on somebody. Sorry, it's just not that deep. But this also speaks to the undercurrent, the underlying issues that must have been there in ASAP Mob that they did a good job to keep under wraps, to be fair. Give these guys credit. They did a really good job to keep it under wraps that they were beefing this whole time behind the scenes. We get some stuff from Ferg. I think Ferg even said recently the ASAP Mob is no longer there. It's no longer active. There is no ASAP Mob. But they've done a really good job over the years to keep a lot of their internal beef behind closed doors. We didn't really know about any of the fallings out, but it makes sense. Ever since Yams died, ever since that one guy died who's on ASAP Mob, RIP to him, I forgot his name, the one that rides bikes, he was very popular too. I think Yams was the glue that glued the team together. The guy that used to ride bikes that passed away, he was also a big member. He was also a big behind the scenes person who kept the crew together. Ever since those two guys died, and maybe some other people, maybe even I'm thinking of the guy, I forgot his name. It's not Jay Stash, it's a Jay something. He's a guy that used to hang out with he was a little bit more hipster. And he was part of ASAP Mob. That guy that died too, he was another one that was also an integral part. So I wonder if the deaths over the years kind of caused this friction in the team, or if it's just a simple fact that in that crew, Rocky became a superstar, which is really odd, right? To think of. You think about it, like in a crew like that, for somebody to become a bona fide superstar, pop star person, he doesn't even have many albums. Doesn't really have that many, you know. He's not really, even recent albums have been pretty shit. But Rocky's celebrity as a person is so big when you compare it to his music. But it's also really big compared to everybody else in the group. Like he is like 100 times famous than anybody else in that crew. So I could imagine it being all dudes, it'd be pretty difficult to navigate that. One person has everything. One person's going out with Iggy. One person's going out with Rihanna. One person's going, you know what I mean, going out all with fucking Kylie Jenner at one point. One person's at all the runway shows. One person's getting all the brand deals. It's probably quite hard to kind of swallow that and kind of play a position. And also if you're an artist, because I've always said in that ASAP Mob, I'm not gonna lie, I think weirdly enough, two rappers are the best in there who aren't even the most vocal or the most front facing. I've always felt the best rappers in ASAP were ASAP 12, ASAP Nast, who doesn't even make music anymore. He's just more of an influencer style kind of guy, but he's really talented as a musician, as a rapper. And there's another guy too, I forgot his name, who's got like a skateboarding brand. I forgot his name, but he's actually really decent too. He's actually doing a lot of Memphis type rap mixtapes. I forgot his fucking name, but I thought those three guys, Nast, 12, and the other dude who I forgot his name, they're actually the three best rappers I think in ASAP Mob. But the ones who got all the success and all the fame were Rocky and Ferg. So it must be difficult to kind of navigate that kind of thing, but pulling out a gun is no excuse. But another development in this story has been this information courtesy of Azealia Banks. Now, why is this pertinent and why is this important? If you know your ASAP Mob lore, you would know that Azealia Banks is like an OG member of ASAP Mob 2 because she used to date back in the day ASAP 12. She was ASAP 12's girlfriend, legit, for like a long time back in the day. So if you know about this like NYC lore and gossip and shit. So she knows a lot about ASAP Mob that she probably shouldn't know, you know, because of that connection that she has with them and because she's from the same place that they're from. So let's read her caption. She says the following: ASAP Relli and Nautica literally made Rocky. Rocky is not from Harlem like he says. So the fucking tea on this is Rocky corny ass had Rihanna in Harlem trying to show off and made the mistake of inviting Relli fine chocolate ass over, and of course Rihanna was all in his face flirting and shit. This is a crazy development. Azealia Banks is suggesting the reason why Rocky wanted to shoot Relli wasn't because of the rumor that he put out there that he was not paying for the funeral. The reason is because Rihanna was kind of fancying Relli, or maybe Relli made a move on Rihanna. Imagine if that happened. I don't believe it personally, but imagine. Rocky got jealous, invited him to meet up somewhere, pulled him in for a hug, and then really tried to shoot and kill him, all because Rihanna was looking. Relli ain't looking for no payday. He's genuinely deeply hurt because he believed in Rocky and considered him a friend. Rocky is responsible for ASAP Yam's overdose. This is a bit much, by the way. Azealia Banks always goes a bit much. This is a bit too crazy for me. Rocky is responsible for ASAP Yam's overdose because he would punk him in front of people, punch him in the chest knowing he had severe asthma, and send him into a spiral depression. He tried to self-medicate away with Xanax. Rocky gave Yam's mother a measly $60,000 after all Yams did to stylize him. I grew up with all these niggas. Rocky tried to shoot Relli and recklessly almost shot ASAP Ills. I don't give a fuck. Rocky needs to go to jail and pay Relli with whatever money he makes. This case is missing another count of attempted murder for Elijah, felony assault, illegal possession of a firearm, fraudulent inductment, coercion, intentional infliction of emotional distress, reckless endangerment, and everything possible. Fuck this nigga Rocky. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, do I believe this whole thing? No. But it does come from some level of authority because, like I said, Azealia Banks was very much connected to ASAP Mob due to her dating ASAP 12 back in the day. But I'm not too sure if I buy this story that Rihanna saw Relli at a party and went to fuck him. I don't think Rihanna's that reckless too. She knows how tight these guys are as brothers, as a crew. I'm not too sure she's gonna be like all up in someone's face. Do you know what I mean? I don't buy that. I don't buy that personally. But maybe, is there maybe some truth to it? Maybe she could have said something to Rocky like, oh my god, your friend's really fine. He's really hot, innit? Da, 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 da. And he maybe didn't take it too well. Maybe. But I don't know. Either way, crazy development. Let's see how it pans out. I'm still shocked to this day that Rocky rejected the plea deal. Let's see here. ASAP Rocky plea deal. I forgot it was really, really fucking short. Plea deal. Because I think it was a crazy short a time that he rejected. So let's see. This is courtesy of AP News. This is the plea deal that he rejected. So he's probably going to end up regretting this. Because if that guy went on the stand and said, hey, yeah, Rocky shot me, I don't see how he gets out of this, you know? Unless his defense can prove that. Because even if it was a prop gun, it doesn't matter really, does it? I don't think it really matters even if it was a prop gun. But let's see what the thing was. The agreement. Yeah, there we go. ASAP Rocky turned down a final prosecution plea offer of 180 days in jail, risking it by going to court. 180 days he turned down, which doesn't sound like too much really when you consider that he's facing fucking 20 years or some shit. Yeah, there you go. Rocky turned down a prosecution plea offer of 180 days in jail, risking the possibility of a guilty verdict and years in prison as jury selection begins. The agreement offered the 36-year-old rapper, fashion mogul and actor was a plea guilty to one of the 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic weapon. Los Angeles prosecution court could also recommend a 7-year suspended sentence and 3 years probation. So he rejected a plea deal that would have seen him sit down for 180 days. According to WAC 100, he said that he would have probably got half that time with good behavior. That's what WAC 100, you know, he's been in and out of prison. He knows the prison system. So he said he probably could have got done with that in half the time. And then I guess the other thing that maybe gave Rocky a little bit of pause was the fact that it would be a 7-year suspended sentence, which basically means 7 years of probation, which, you know, basically, which you have to be on good behavior. But again, if you're Rocky and you're a father and you're about to get married, why do you anticipate yourself getting in trouble in 7 years anyway? Just chill the fuck out. It's not that deep. You know, 7 years suspended sentence, 3 years of probation, and a 6-month jail term. So now he's looking at possibly 20 years. No, sorry, it's not 20. He is accused of firing at a former friend near Hollywood Hotel in 2021 and could get a maximum of 24 years in prison if convicted. 24 years via 180 days. Oh, yo. This is such a bad move. But hey, let's see how it plays out. It's looking kind of crazy for him regardless. And I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. Either way, I really don't know what's going on. I wish I fucking did. Big up Fashion Roadman. Rocky is too old to be behaving like this. Definitely agree. Big up Jordan Ray. If my wife was a billionaire, I would be in Morocco not entertaining any beef. Exactly. I think at that time, 2021, they probably had, no, they had 1 kid, right? Or 2 kids. They already had 1 kid. So they're already building this family. She's fully out of music. She's fully a billionaire. Like, I don't know why he's having beefs with his former friends. Like, You live in LA, bro. Like, you're in the hills, hidden hills, behind a big wall somewhere. You probably don't see these people. Even if they live in LA together, I'm sure if you're a dad, I think if you're a dad real and you have a wife, you just don't see certain people because your time is taken up with looking after your kid and your family. So I don't know. Big up Aitch Fashion Roadman. Rocky has way too much to lose to be getting himself involved in this kind of shit. Some people don't learn. The man has kids to take care of. Yeah, but that's the thing though. If you're a fan of music and you're a fan of Rocky and ASAP Mob, you would have known this guy's always had a bit of a temper anyway. Back when ASAP Mob were coming up, he'd always be the first to jump in the crowd and start fighting people in the crowd and shit. This is just an extension of that. He's never grown up and matured out of that thing of like, yeah, man, we're fashion niggas. I know I wear like skinny jeans and I've got this like effeminate clothing and shit, but don't think I'm sweet. Don't think I'm sweet, you know? He always had that chip on his shoulder. So he'd always kind of rush people, which was funny when they first started, right? But they were like 21 then. When you're fucking 36, not so much. It doesn't seem as cute, you know? Wow. Same take from Azealia Banks is a a same take from Azealia Banks is a rare collector's card. Big up Don Dotter. That's the thing though. I don't know how much I buy into Azealia Banks' explanation. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds amazing. I'd love it for it to be true because it's very juicy and sounds fucking super salacious. But I don't sure how much of this I buy. I'm not gonna lie. It just sounds a little bit improbable. That Rihanna would be. Don't get me wrong. I could see Rocky having a fragile ego and being somewhat insecure, even though he looks the way he looks, and most women like him. He's always the one that person you'd imagine the crew that gets the most chicks. I could also imagine if your wife is saying to you one of your friends is hot, even the most secure guy can maybe feel a little bit of twinge of jealousy. But I couldn't see it going to the extent he was going to shoot his friend, you know? And I also don't see Rihanna moving that recklessly. If she knows her guy might have a little bit in him where he gets a little bit, when you mention other dudes are attractive, I wouldn't see why she would go out of her way to kind of openly flirt with somebody. You know what I mean? It wouldn't make no sense to me in that regard. Would she do it behind his back? Maybe. But do it in front of his face when she takes him to Harlem? When he takes her to Harlem? I'm not too sure. It just sounds too juicy. Big up Jordan Ray. Azealia Banks is not a credible source or anything. Big up. But you know, she is though a little bit. Like I said, because she used to go out at 12, so she knows those guys intimately. She knows those guys better than we know them anyway. So she does have some knowledge of that crew. Rocky was bugging. Big up Fresh and Roadman. One day for 20 years exactly. Big up. Who's this? Big up Cheeky, or is it Shek I? Your lawyers would only let you turn it down if 1, they could beat it, and 2, drag it out long enough. What does dragging out long enough do though, by the way? Big up Checky. What does dragging it out long do? But dragging it out, you still have to reach a conclusion though. There still has to be a verdict. It's not going to help you beat the charges, no? Let me know in the stream chat, Chick or Chic. If you drag it out, what happens? Yes, you tire everybody out and you just want to get it over, but you still have to find a verdict. You still have to reach a verdict, sorry. It's not like you could just escape from the charges. Yeah, I'm surprised these lawyers would turn it down. But I also read something that said the reason why Rocky turned it down was because he has deals now currently that would mean if he accepted responsibility of what happened, for instance, if he accepted 2 counts, because it says in an article that part of the plea deal, he would have to be guilty of 2 things, right? Where is it? The agreement offered a 36-year-old to plead guilty on 1 of 2 counts of felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. So I read somewhere that said if he pled guilty to that, it would automatically void certain deals he had. So maybe JW Anderson, Luebe, whoever deals he has with some brands, they would immediately get terminated. So he didn't want to risk that. But surely that doesn't matter. That short-term thing, like, your freedom is most important. Like, who cares about the money? Like, your freedom should be important. But allegedly that's why he turned it down, because he didn't want to risk having those deals get fucking terminated because he's been found guilty of those things. Big up Fashion Roadmap. He doesn't beat the KSGG. As a Drake Glazer, last year I feel vindicated. Yeah, big up Farmer Town. Oh my god. Big up HH. Harlem Ninjas are the worst. Will clown your fit in front of your mum. They probably had underlying tension and Riri set it off with complimenting his homie. No, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Big up HH there. Yeah, I agree with that. If this guy, how he sounds, quite mild-mannered, quite chill, quite relaxed and shit, quite grown up, if he was the one that was calling out Rocky for maybe not really helping out people and being a little bit greedy and shit, I can see maybe that being part of the tension, just generally, like this guy not liking how Rocky's moving. And then when Rihanna's like, oh, your guy is really fine. I mean, your friend is really good looking. That could probably send him over the hill. But I'm not too sure I believe all this whole thing about Rihanna was all up in his face, kissing his neck and shit. And then Rocky went crazy. I don't think Rihanna's going to move that crazy. I don't think she's that reckless personally, but I could be wrong. Either way, Rocky looks like he's in big trouble. The video of them in court is fucking hilarious, by the way. Rocky's just sitting there looking at his friend in the fucking stand as he's testifying against him, giving him the evil it looks like, but also just kind of like bewildered how he's there. Like, fucking hell, how did it get to this place? How did I end up here? You know, it kind of, that's what it feels like. It feels like how did I end up here? So yeah, this is the clip actually courtesy of Tony Yayo on Vlad. He says the same thing actually on here regarding the never seeing somebody that's been shot not get someone that's, you know, survived the shooting, not get the person that shot them convicted. Oh, this is a Vlad clip. It might actually fuck me over. Let's play a little bit of it here.
They still alive and they willing to take the stand. Somebody saying you shot them and they still alive and they willing to take the stand. In my eyes, you're not gonna beat the fucking case.
Yeah.
I never seen that in my life. Somebody saying,
yep, that's it. He's right. He's fucking right. So I don't know why Rocky didn't take the plea deal, but I guess he might know something that we don't. What can you do? Anyways, my friends, that's been it. Thank you for tuning in to the Agostinho Zinga Show episode number 866, I think, right? Thank you for tuning into the other episode of the Random Show, the Agostinho Zinga Show episode number 666. For those of you that want the Random Show, that's coming at 11:30, I think, tonight. So come back later, 11:30 tonight. I'm going to head off to the gym quickly, have a quick workout, and then Random Show later on, 11:30-ish tonight. But for those of you listening to the Agostinho Zinga Show, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company. If you're listening to this via the audio pod, you will hear my tune today playing underneath my voice, which is by Teddy Swims, Guilty. Make sure you check out that album. I think it's called something like I've Tried Everything But Therapy Part 2 or something. Check that out. It's a really good song on that particular album that came out last week from Teddy Swims. So Teddy Swims, Guilty will be my tune of the day. So thank you for those of you who are listening to that. If you're watching the video part of it, there will be no tune today. Apologies for that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you can also, and links and timestamps will be added later on today. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Peace.